What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, January 26, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. How is everyone doing out there? I don't know what the heck was going on at the beginning. I was messing with the stream earlier, trying to fix the connection problems that we've been having lately. And I don't know, it did something to the stream, but as long as it's working now, it looks like it is. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know all's good out there. Hopefully we won't have too many crashes today. I spent a lot of time trying to fix this crap. I ruled a lot of stuff out, but I'm not sure I fixed it completely. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably have to keep working on it and install a whole new streaming thing because something screwed up. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. I see the thumbs up. Let's see who we got in the chat. Ian Adams, what's up? Thank you for the thumbs up. Smurfer Girl, whatevs. SE Montreal, Askin Raziv, Chrissy Heavey, Mark Beretta, Flat for Life, Champion the Underdog, Page 42, and let's keep going. The Snark, and Almost Unbelievable, who claims to have been first tonight. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing all right out there. What do we got going on tonight? I don't know. I put out a video earlier, though, on the parachuting satellites. I thought that was pretty interesting. Worked on that, threw that together last night, and found something else interesting we'll take a look at that was in the video near the end. But the way the clouds look are very strange. I compared that to the Mage 2 footage. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. If not, we'll talk about it in a little while. And then I've got some other stuff that we can talk about regarding rocket launches and how they should look, how perspective would impact the way they do look. That website I mentioned yesterday from the YouTuber named Blake. And what else I got? Oh, that one comment that I've been meaning to read for a long time from Decadent regarding perspective and optics. So we can take a look at that. Who knows what will pop in, but there are a couple people in the chat right now. So as soon as I get the Streamlabs link into the chat, we'll go and check them out. And there it is. And I'll pin it up top. There we go. There you go. If you want to support the show, you can hit that up. If you want to join the show, there is a link for Discord in the description of the video, the stream, and pop on in, say hello. If you want to present something, the floor is open. Come in and argue with us. Come in and argue with us, whatever you want to do. It is open to almost everybody. All right, let's go into Discord and see what's going on. I see we had our first blip in the signal already. Damn it. Well, it was quick. It looks like it was very quick. So that's good news. All right, let's see what's going on in Discord.
I drive a big truck.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Brandon?
Hi, Brandon.
Hey, what's up, Mark? How you doing?
We're going to beat the ball.
Beat the ball, huh?
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. All right, cool. What's up, Jimbo?
I'm getting my cold balls off the floor.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's not a good place for them.
Or getting my balls off the cold floor. I'm not sure which order.
Sounds a little personal, don't it?
What's up, Left Lane?
You keep your balls off that cold floor.
Hopefully you're talking about like you're doing the Cavendish experiment or something. Well, hopefully you're not doing the
Cavendish.
Cavendish.
Toys, you know, like basketballs and baseballs.
Ah, yeah. Don't want to be
You
tripping
don't
over
want to keep your balls on the cold floor, eh?
Right, right. How are your numbers looking on the flashlights? Did you move any yesterday, Jimbo?
No, but I'm still, hopefully people will feel the joy, and I really mean it. It's more than just feeling that glow like you're a kid again. This is a useful tool beyond what you can imagine. So even though I push the warm and fuzzy feeling, and it's very real, but it's actually a lighthouse in your hand.
Come on, seriously, man. What's your ownership stake in this flashlight company?
Well, there are direct phone commissions when you're selling hot water heaters. If I go around and I see a site that's going in construction for 100 homes or block apartments or whatever, I'll stop around and meet the contractors because they can't buy 100, John Wood's hot water tanks. They have to buy them through a broker. I can go and buy them and get them delivered to the site and make a commission.
Okay, that's interesting.
Per units, whatever, so.
You make money doing that, huh? Interesting.
I'm an opportunist. If someone has repairs they need, I can go fix your machines, your monitors, it don't matter. In the day, it was your televisions, your radios, it didn't matter what. Honest work is honest work. Making money honestly, you broker things, you trade. It's either in your blood or it's not.
Okay.
You either, you're like a mercantile spirit or you're, consumer. People are so trained as consumers, they don't think, well, maybe I could make money. Like I'm probably going to invest in some airbrush kits, pay $10 a kit, sell them $25. I'm making $15 a kit. Why not? People are bored at home. Airbrushing is beautiful. When you develop skills in that, wow. You can't anything with it, but so people are bored, and I'm gonna probably make some money off airbrush kits.
Okay, all right.
Why not?
Yeah, hey, you got to make a buck,
the
right?
rights, no matter what the mistake, if I did or didn't, it's how valuable it is to each and every one of you that has a body of water, people across lakes and whatever. And like I say, it truly is like having your own lighthouse in your hand.
All right, cool.
It's amazing. Anyway,
well, I'll
almost
keep on
sold. Promoting it.
I'm almost sold, Jimbo.
And the flatness. Yep. I hope you get one. You'll feel that warm, fuzzy feeling. And, I can't get a reward off of that, except to know I'm happy that you got it. And you feel it and you felt it, That's my reward. And what it'll do for, your flat earth experience and other people's.
Okay. Hey,
like I said, it's waterproof to 2 meters, by the way.
2 meters. Got it. Okay. That's a good feature. Mark Collard in the chat says, you sound a lot like John Levy. I'm sure you watch him, right?
I may have seen him, and I may be John Levy in conspiracy theory books.
Huh.
I may be James Earl Jones.
And I saw we have a couple other people that joined us. Effie Evangelist. What's up, Effie?
Hey, everybody. How are we?
Good, man. And Sean G. What's up, Sean? Oh, Sean must just be listening in, or else his mic isn't working. Did anybody get a chance to check out the video that I put out at 2:00 with the parachute satellites? No?
Yep, I did, Brandon. I couldn't tell much about it because I'm driving, and I don't get to watch, I just listened as I go along,
Yeah, it's one of those ones you got to watch.
Is this the same one as the satellites in the clouds? Is that the same?
It's the same video, but it's the stuff, the extra stuff.
Snipped it. Yeah, I watched that, buddy. Yeah.
So what do you think?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you guys think? You think those are parachutes, or what do you think's going on there? Because some people are saying it's just the light hitting it, but it looks pretty clear to me.
You have a black dot falling down towards the sky, and then suddenly there's a white shadow attached to the black dot that can only be interpreted as a parachute.
Yeah.
They almost look like little blimps, except not shaped like blimps. Just, hydrogen gas in a shell balanced to a certain weight or whatever for a certain fall.
For me, here's how I view it. It's it's inconclusive to me. Like, we can't say, oh, it's definitely this or definitely that. The resolution's really not quite good enough to figure that out. What we can figure out for sure is that it's a lot of horse crap.
Yeah.
What's the claim from the people who present the video, though?
Well, the claim is that those are satellites that are ejected at 576 kilometers above the surface of the Earth into orbit.
Yeah, they're not going into orbit, though, are they? They're going downwards.
They do appear to very clearly, to me, look to be going downwards. Yeah.
They're not going left, right, forward, backwards. They're going downwards.
Yeah, I've seen stuff fall before, and it looks just like that.
Yeah, but you can't.
And they disappear into the clouds.
You can't trust your own personal experience, though, can you, Brandon?
No, you can't trust your own eyes. You know, we all know that obviously this world was made to deceive us.
Yeah, definitely. If you drop a golf ball, it might go downwards, but it might go off to the right or the left or the front or the back.
True. And even if you see it fall down to the ground, you're probably going to need to find a scientist to come along and tell you exactly what happened, so they can explain the physics to you.
Because the ball is spinning.
Exactly, Brandon. Like God or the Big Bang created a reality which is totally deceptive, 24/7. Can't believe anything you see, feel, touch, hear, or smell. You need a scientist to explain it to you.
Exactly.
Oh, am I confused?
I'm sorry. Is now good?
A little better. I'll turn you up if you're having trouble on that. So I'll turn you up more. Right now, Sean.
All right. How about that?
Yeah, that's not bad. Yep.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah. I just wanted my check. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. Actually, you seem to be cutting in a little out now that you've said a few more words. So you were saying something about empirical evidence, Mark?
Yeah, it's what you experience compared to what you've always experienced.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say too. You know, what evidence do you have that the Earth is flat or that it's not moving? Well, like every single moment of my life, all of my experiences, all of my combined experiences of Earth. Does that count for anything? I don't know.
No, it doesn't, because I can present you a drawing on a piece of paper that shows that you're wrong.
Well, I guess that would be pretty compelling. I'd have to think
Yeah,
twice.
I'd be convinced by a little stick man drawing a side view on a piece of paper any day.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can show the curvature of the Earth in atmosphere and orbit on a piece of paper, and obviously you're wrong. Empirical evidence doesn't count.
And
You
actually,
can show
I would be
unicorns on paper. Doesn't make them real.
I would be an idiot not to believe your drawing, Mark. If you know what I mean. Like if you drew me that, like say the atmosphere, how it works, and I said no, that doesn't comport with the reality that I understand. I'd be an idiot for not immediately believing you or questioning it. Obviously, right?
Yeah, because of course. If you can draw it on a piece of paper, it must be right.
Well, speaking of empirical evidence, this video is obviously not empirical evidence.
It's more official if you write it in wax crayon by Crayola.
Well, I didn't know that had any bearing on it, but can you guys see my screen? No, because I haven't shared it yet.
Hang on, let's try. Hey, Ali B, good to have you with us.
What up, Allie? Okay, you should see on my screen the two side-by-sides of clouds, of views down towards the Earth. One on the left is Mage 2. That's Mr. Sensible's footage at 38,000 plus meters, 38,616. So about 38 kilometers, 39 kilometers. On the right is the Indian Space Research Organization satellite footage that we've been talking about for the last couple days at 576 kilometers, which is, of course, 576,000 meters, more than a order of magnitude higher than the Mage 2 footage. I find it curious that in the picture on the right, the ISRO footage, there seems to be a lot more detail and definition to these clouds, even though it was filmed with a potato, than the images on the left in the Mage 2 footage that was filmed with a pretty decent camera, 1080p for sure.
Yeah, but the one on the left doesn't have any cloud cover to distinguish the detail that you're talking about. I mean, we may be able to see the land masses just as well if the clouds weren't there, right?
You would think that this isn't clouds, but this is actually clouds, this white stuff in the image on the left.
Do you know the location of where that's at?
Yeah.
I didn't see Mr. Sensible, so.
Yes, I did. Yeah. It is, and those clouds are at approximately like between 1 and 2 kilometers. That is over England somewhere. I'd have to dig up the exact location, but yeah, they released it over England. And he does a whole analysis.
I haven't seen Mr. Sensible.
Oh yeah, no problem. But I don't know. Does anybody else find it interesting that, you know, we can see the individual little clouds and kind of the shape and the detail and the definition as much as 480p will allow us in the stuff on the right at 576 kilometers? Mind you, these clouds can be nowhere close to as high as this camera, like at least 500 kilometers below, and that's being extremely generous.
Yeah, well, I agree. It could be, but it could be storm cloud. I mean, like I said, I didn't see his, but it could be storm clouds. Those would be higher up, be thicker.
In the Indian footage, they could be storm clouds. We looked that up the other day, and in the highest storm clouds, regular clouds, not these noctilucent ones you see in my background here, it's like 60,000 feet, I believe. Is it feet or meters when we looked at it? The clouds. And we can argue about whether they actually do go into the clearing of these clouds and go in and out of these clouds. All detail in the right one, and the left one is just white blobs. This one looks closer.
Yeah, it does look closer, but I mean, from just looking at just these two images, I mean, camera angle is going to matter, and again, you can just as we're talking about how high the clouds go. I mean, we can also talk about how cloud decks get real. I mean, you can get a cloud deck at 500 feet.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. So yeah, I just wanted to point out the comparison, and then
yeah,
if you didn't see this here at the end, I'll just play this through real quick. Where does this comparison end? I think this is a pretty clear shot. If you watch the video, you'll see it a few times of the satellite. So this is what I'm talking about. Go back and watch this video, but I mean, you can it very much looks to me like the satellites go into the clouds and that there's a parachute opening up. So keep your eye on that one right there. See that white blob? That white blob suddenly appears. The other two have the white blob. This one doesn't right now. And the white blob then appears. This was the last one thrown out of the three.
Why does the mage...
I would say, to me, looking at it, it's very slow, but it would look like that's when it reaches that altitude where the sun is reflecting off the back of it or that side of it. But I do see what you're saying. But if it was a parachute, you would think that parachute would extend above it rather than be on it.
Well, I mean, above it and on it is going to look essentially the same thing, and you do see a little bit of separation from the white blob.
Yeah, I see.
You know.
Yeah, my apologies. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm thinking about it, looking from a side view, and we're not looking at a side view. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. What's up, Jeremy?
What's up? Why does the mage footage look like it's so much farther away?
I don't know. We were just talking about that. No idea.
Yeah, I got in late. For some reason, my alarms have not been working for when I got an alarm set for when the show starts, and it's fucked up.
You gotta get your clock fixed, man.
Can I fling something into the pot here then?
Yeah, fling it away.
All right. Try Googling parachutes on satellites.
Yes.
They definitely have parachutes on satellites. But we also
they
know that
do,
they
but
fall
the
out of
point
orbit.
is,
So
the point I was making is that if they're going into the clouds, they use them as a braking systems to slow them down so they settle into orbit. I was just wondering, how do they orbit underneath the clouds and I mean, it's maximum 60,000 feet the clouds go up to. Like, so it's kind of strange how that's what they say anyway about the parachutes that they put on some of these satellites. They were doing it in 2015 or something.
well, if you're talking about
NASA,
going into the clouds on that video,
allegedly.
I would say just like Brandon said, it's not 100% that they went into clouds. It just may appear to.
They're clouds, and they do go in. You can see that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it is pretty clear
It's
that
not
they
an
go
optical
into.
illusion. Don't let them kid you on. They things go into clouds, and I'm surprised that Dr. Phil Bellend didn't know about the parachutes on the satellite, seeing he seems to be the resident expert on satellites. He doesn't seem to know much about
Well, let me
it.
clear this up.
They
This
say-
is just read this right here,
But the
Ali.
video-
It's called.
Yeah,
It's a small satellite. On these small satellites, it allows them to return to Earth. So when they're ready to deorbit them, maybe they can catch them and they'll deploy the parachute. In that video from India, they're launching the satellites. So why would they be parachuting into clouds when they
read on
launch
a bit
them?
further, Brandon. Sorry, if you read on a bit further, it actually talks about it does slow them down as well. For the
Well, that's what a parachute to do.
If I read it,
Yeah, but wouldn't you deploy them? Wouldn't you deploy them when you're ready to get them out of orbit?
Well, I'm not sticking up for them. I'm just saying it's.
Hang on.
Well,
Aren't we deploying
in this video
them in a
right here,
vacuum?
it's saying
If we're deploying them in a vacuum, what do you need a parachute for? So
yeah,
no
exactly
use whatsoever.
as well.
And
it's
the parachute
saying,
wouldn't even inflate.
but it's saying that it's as it returns to Earth, so it's in Earth's atmosphere enough for a
Yeah, but
parachute
if you
to work.
read the whole article or the whole thing that they do, they slow them down to as well as to put them into orbit.
Well, from what I've read so far, but I've been able to see.
Yeah, but you've only read so far.
It's described.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's describing
so
the technology that they use to aid in returning satellites.
Yeah, and if you read a little bit more, you'll probably discover the bit I'm talking about as well.
So it uses the parachute when it puts them into and out of orbit. 2 parachutes.
No, this article is just saying is talking about it when it returns out of orbit.
Oh, so why are the parachutes deploying when they're getting put into orbit then?
Those aren't definitively parachutes, Jeremy, in my opinion, at least.
What are they?
To me, it looks like the light reflecting off the sides of them.
Light reflecting, yeah.
If you look at in that same video, if you look at the clouds, the sunlight's hitting the clouds on the same side as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so the sunlight's hitting them different from when they're right near the craft as opposed to when they get below the craft a little bit. Are they going down?
Yeah, it could be. For all I know, they could be twisted at one angle and they drop to a different type of. What I'm looking for.
I don't know.
The way they.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
Orientation. There you go.
Yeah, are the satellites going down towards Earth? Sean?
It would appear to.
Yeah, it would appear to. So they must have some kind of propulsion mechanism on them to stop them from going down, right?
I don't know about those specific satellites, but they do. Satellites do.
Well, those would have to, because if they didn't, they would just keep going down, right? Object in motion stays in motion and all that.
Well, at the same time, the object that's releasing them could be doing that.
Could be doing what?
They could be being launched off out of the whatever satellites up there launching them to put them where they need to be.
Yeah, but they're you said they're going towards Earth though.
Well, they're dropping out from under it.
Going towards Earth, yeah. So what?
I'm not saying they're flying in any other direction. They're not meant to be flown like a drone or anything.
Yeah. So what's stopping them from falling down to Earth?
Probably their orbit.
What'd you say? Am I breaking up?
There's nothing that says that those objects dropped to Earth.
Yeah, but they're dropping clearly. I mean, so we're gonna need some kind of mechanism to stop them from dropping, right?
Well, it'd be the same mechanism that launches a satellite from a SpaceX rocket. It's
Some
not like
kind
it
of
releases
propulsion.
and
Yeah,
then
that's
just
what I'm
stays
saying. They
next
would
to it. Yeah.
some kind of
Mhm.
propulsion system. That's what I'm saying. They would have to have this on there, right? Obviously.
On them on the launch
On
vehicle,
the
maybe.
satellites that are falling to Earth.
I don't know.
Right?
I already said that, Jeremy. I can't say.
I
I
know
don't
you
know
don't know, but they
the
would
tech on
have
it.
to have something. I know you don't know, but they would
I
have to
would. I
have
don't
something.
think so. I would think that the launch vehicle would be the only thing that really needs to be able to launch it to where it needs to be. That could be done from wherever it's docked to.
So we got the satellite going down towards Earth, and then it magically stops, and right where it needs to be,
No,
or what?
that's
I
not
don't
how it
understand.
works. It's so whatever object is launching them is in orbit. If it launches objects out of itself, and these other satellites, those are going to be going into orbit also. So it'd make more sense for them to launch it off of the launching deck than to just release them right next to it.
Oh no, this shit's pretty shaky right here.
You know, Sean, no offense, but why does it seem like you're bending over backwards to make excuses for this footage?
Not excuses at all. When I'm watching this video, it's my understanding of what I'm seeing. It's what I can rationally conclude from what I'm watching.
Does it look like the satellite goes under the cloud in that piece of footage that was just on screen to you? Does it look like it goes into the clearing of the clouds and under it? Right here.
It doesn't look exactly like 100% it does. It doesn't look like 100% it does. Like I can't say, oh yeah, it does. But it could be it being, getting its angular size being so small, it would appear to. But I can't say 100%. It doesn't or does.
Does it look like it though?
Every one of
does it
them
look
will
like? I'm not
defend
saying it's 100%, but does it just look? Does it just look like it does?
It would raise question. I understand that. I understand why the question is being raised. Does it go into the clouds?
Okay.
They'll doubt their own eyes.
The question,
Defend it to the death.
the angular size thing, we can dismiss that because we see it go beneath the cloud covers it, and then we see a clearing in the cloud, and boom, we see the satellite again. So it couldn't have been angular size, right?
Okay. Well, right now is where it would appear, where you just had, would appear kind of like it may have gone through it. It would appear to, but at the same time, when I watched it and it looked like it looks kind of like it's in the clouds. It also disappears and you don't see it again. And for me, that would be that reason why we stopped seeing it
is the exact place where this angular size comes into play and makes the satellite either invisible or hard to see. It's a strange coincidence that it lines up so well that it makes it look exactly like that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, but at the same time, would you agree that you can 100% say that it doesn't go under cloud?
Of course. I can't 100% say.
Yeah, that's just, my answer to it is the same thing. I can't 100% tell you no, it's not, because it looks weird. But at the same time, that's going to be like I said, my rational conclusion to what I'm seeing.
Can I just ask what your excuse was for why the mage footage looked like it was so much farther away?
My excuse? I didn't have excuses. I pointed out that at the same time we were talking about the cloud deck being so high, you can also have a cloud deck that's really low and it looks like that almost, where it's not going to be the same distance as in the Indian footage.
Well, I mean, despite how high the clouds are, you're talking about maybe they're at 50,000 feet, maybe they're at 40, maybe they're at 70. This satellite thing.
But at the same, but it could also be rain clouds compared to the one in the picture on the left that were just okay. But at the same time,
your audio's clipping a little bit, Sean.
My apologies. I live on an airfield, so
no problem.
Planes fly by, it destroys everything.
I just wanted you to know. So,
yeah, in that maze
I won't
footage,
be so long-winded.
They had there were two cameras on that maze balloon. That one was the one looking up at the balloon was wide angle. So, and that looks to me like that's a wide angle shot off the maze footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that he used for his comparisons. I think you might be right that this is the wide angle. I've got it in a file here. We can check. But
Yeah,
I mean,
the
what
amount
difference
of curve and everything goes, you know.
does that make a difference, Howard? Or
As far as your perception of it, yeah, I think a wide angle lens kind of screws everything up as far as, you know, using it for depth perception or whatever.
okay, let me bring that file up. We can actually bring that video up. It might be interesting to look at different parts of the footage, because here's another shot. So this is the is this the front camera? I think this is the front camera. This is the main camera that he used for the comparisons. And yeah, this is the main camera here, Howard. Oh no, it's not, because it doesn't have the lines across from it. You're right. This is the wide angle camera. This is the back camera.
Yeah, the amount of curve that it's showing in there, that's a little exaggerated.
Yeah, it's a lot exaggerated. It should be like a straight line across the screen.
Yeah,
So
it's difficult to see, even, you know, in his comparison with the lines and that regular lens.
With a wide angle lens, you think, Howard?
Well, as far as you know, any numeric analysis, yeah, you can't do anything with that as far as, you know, trying to apply numbers or you know, it's a little bit of a distorted reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the reality is getting distorted, so we should just dismiss anything with a wide angle lens, right?
As far as analyzing, you know, with any, you know, any kind of numbers or statistical or whatever, yeah, I mean, you know, it's just
Or the shapes of things we see.
Especially in a comparison like we're doing now.
well, let's go to the video. I'll bring up Mr. Sensible too. Is what would be a fair comparison in the Mr. Sensible footage? You can see it a lot lower down too, and it matches much better that Indian footage than up high. So let me find that real quick, Mr. Sensible.
Bro, that Indian footage is not 300 miles up. It's obvious. You can make whatever bullshit excuses you want. I know you guys desperately need to save this, because if you just find one instance of them faking space, it's over for these motherfuckers.
No, you're right. I mean, to me, the like if he said that it's inconclusive, because if those apparatus or vessels are actually going into clouds, it's not in low Earth orbit. It's in the atmosphere, and if it's in the atmosphere, space. If it's in the atmosphere, they're not going at orbital velocity. If it's deploying it's not going at orbital velocity. You know, it's just a very inconclusive film. I don't know what to say about it. It needs to be identified, see where it came from, and see what they actually claim it to be. You know,
bro, is everyone else's mic breaking up, or is it just me?
I was concentrating on the video right then, but I think Howard did kind of a clip a couple times, but not bad at all.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering if I was having issues. That's all.
Yeah, just FYI, here's where I took this one screenshot from that I used in the comparison, was from Mr. Sensible's video, where he used it to prove that it wasn't CGI by comparing it to the weather patterns of the clouds. So that's why I thought that was kind of a good thing to use. Let me see if I can find a better comparison. What you think would be a fair comparison? He's got different cameras and so many videos of this Mage 2. He spent so much time on it. I'm having trouble just finding the dang footage. Hold on, I've got a link for it. I don't know.
I mean, if we, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, Jeremy, if you think you've heard any, compelling arguments regarding this this footage and why these satellites would be falling towards the Earth and into clouds and potentially deploying parachutes. Have you heard?
No, I've heard nonsense. You know what Sean said, it's putting him into orbit. Why are they falling down then? If it's putting them into orbit,
Again, because
what's stopping
because
them
if
from
you're
going
putting
down?
them into orbit,
They're
what do
falling
you
down. So
think
what's,
orbit
you need a
is,
mechanism
Jeremy?
to stop
That's
them from falling down.
Jeremy, do you understand what orbiting is? It's a perpetual fall. It's always falling.
Sure, but in relation
That's
to
what
something
orbiting
else.
is.
Okay. When
Like, for
something's
instance, a
falling,
satellite that's launching other satellites,
when
it's
you
not going to want it in the exact same orbital pattern, so it's going to put them in an orbital pattern. And to do so, it has to eject them away from it.
yeah, down towards Earth, and then what's stopping it from going down more?
Their orbital path.
So orbital paths may stop things from falling.
Yeah, it stops things from hitting Earth. Yes.
Once they're far out
Again,
there.
No, I understand
we
that,
put
but what you're
this thing
saying
in-
is you're not going to listen to what's happening, and you're going to say orbiting isn't falling. Then what is orbiting, Jeremy?
Yeah, fine, it's falling. Okay, we got this thing falling, right?
Okay. Mhm.
We got this thing falling. Now it's you say it has an orbital path when it dropped them down, and they're
Yep.
dropping at an increasing rate away from the rocket.
You know that for sure.
You even said it yourself. Yes, they're falling towards Earth.
I said that I said they drop off from that launch at an increasing rate. Is that what I said?
Okay, so they're not falling towards Earth?
From where that wherever that satellite that was launching those other satellites, it was dropping towards Earth from that satellite.
Yeah.
And then can still be put into an orbital path. Do you understand that orbital path
once
is
they're falling,
anything
okay,
orbiting is falling to Earth?
Okay, once they're falling like
You
that,
understand that, right?
once they're falling from the rocket, what sets them on their orbital path once they're falling? Why didn't conservation of momentum keep them going with the thing? Why would they go way down like that?
Because again, I said most likely they would launch away from that launch vehicle, so it's not sitting right next to it.
Yeah, wouldn't you push them out to the side or behind it or something? I mean, I don't know. See why you would push them down?
It would
because then now you're
it would
going to
probably be
need a mechanism to
easier.
stop them from falling.
No. It would probably be easier to drop them into their orbital path than to launch them up into their orbital
How
path.
can you drop them?
What do you mean? Gravity? There's still gravity. That's what they're orbiting is falling to Earth. So that's how you would drop it.
So that's what he's asking. This conservation of momentum, you drop it, it's falling towards Earth.
Mm-hmm.
What stops that momentum?
Nothing stops the momentum.
Exactly.
It's not the momentum isn't stopped for it to drop straight to Earth.
Jesus
Christ.
It's moving in more than
Jeremy,
one
I have a
vector.
question.
Right.
Jeremy, I have a question. You understand that the
That's
launch
the answer.
vehicle
You know it.
Thank you.
It's just orbiting. It's not going higher or lower. It's just orbiting.
It's orbiting.
Are you sure?
Yeah, pretty sure.
I don't know what the fuck you're
telling
looking
me
at,
that
but
hot air balloon. What kind of balloon?
I don't know.
You
But
want
it
to
looks like it wasn't even higher than Mage.
That's only from 60,000 feet.
Looks like it wasn't even higher than Mage 2, dude. I don't know what the fuck
Well,
you're
the
looking
problem
at.
is we've already said that the images that we saw from Mage 2 comparatively to the Indian footage, we can't use them as a comparison because of the angle. The one was a wide angle, right?
No, we can use them as a comparison. We didn't agree that we can't use them as a comparison. You said that it might not be the best comparison. The comparison is far from debunked, and I'm looking for the footage that's not going to look much different.
Left lane. Do you want to repeat what you said? Because you said in this situation they weren't good comparisons.
I didn't say that. I repeated. We're going to look at the good comparison here in a minute. That's about no different, Sean.
The thing is you agreed with him at the time as well.
I said, okay, yeah, because I'm going to go find the footage from the other camera and show you that there's basically no difference in how the clouds look. This is totally immaterial to this issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're saying we can't use wide angle lenses, Sean,
hang on. If that's what you're talking about, Brandon, hang on, Jeremy, because this isn't exactly what you're saying. If you're talking about that being compared to the camera angle you're trying to find, then I get it. Because I remember I said I hadn't seen that one. That's why you said you were trying to find it.
Right.
So if that's what you're saying, then I get that.
You're latching on to this wide angle thing like it's a big deal. It's nothing.
Because because I haven't seen the other one yet.
Okay. Well,
Bro,
The one that you said you're looking for, that's why. Because I haven't seen that one.
go ahead,
What
Jeremy.
happened? I can't server mute people. I can't server mute people.
You should.
Anyways,
For what?
If you're saying we can't use wide angle lenses, you're gonna lose a lot of
I'm
fucking
not.
footage.
Again, you're taking something, again, one topic that was being talked about and throwing it in like it's my whole argument.
Can we use wide angle
Again,
lenses?
I can tell you.
Angle lens. Can you see it on screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, really doesn't make much of a difference, does it? I'm sure I can find it where it's pointing more towards the
fucking goofy ass. You are a goofy ass motherfucker, Sean. You used to be a flat earther, and I don't know what type of dumb shit they showed you to make you switch back.
No detail whatsoever.
Jeremy, if you can talk to me like an adult if you like, and I'll respond. But you act like a kid, I'm gonna treat you like a kid and ignore you.
I talk to you like an idiot because you are.
Okay, you barely understood what orbital path was. I'm not gonna have this conversation.
Bro,
I'm not gonna have a
orbital path
bickering
ain't
match
gonna
with
stop
you either.
something from falling
So
down.
if Brandon, if you want to have a conversation, we can. But I'm not entertaining his child
Well,
attack.
Sean, I think he's getting frustrated because we're not focusing on the main issue here, which is why are these satellites falling towards the Earth? And if that's how they get them into orbit, what stops them from continuing to fall into the Earth? And why are they going into clouds?
Well, you said you can't 100% say that they went in the clouds.
Well, I can.
And dropping them into the orbital path
say
is easier than launching them. Okay,
what
well, 5%
stops,
is
what
still
stops
not
their
100%.
descent to the Earth? You said gravity. There's still gravity. So what stops the descent?
I said there's speed, and there is gravity, which is how orbiting happens.
Okay.
There's still gravity. They're still affected by gravity. That's why their speed matters, and they have to be able to orbit.
Well, I don't think those are going to orbit at all, since they were falling straight towards the Earth.
Centrifugal.
Well, you saying you think that they didn't doesn't mean they didn't, right?
You guys are doing a pretty, valiant effort at explaining away what we see in this image, in this footage.
I'm not trying to explain it anyway. I've said many times I can't give you 100%.
Is centrifugal force something else?
But I gave you my logical reasoning. I told you my logical reasoning for what I was seeing, and I made it very clear. I'm not trying to say I know, and you guys are all 100% wrong. I made it very clear.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not very compelling for me compared to
I'm not
what
trying
we
to
see in the
convince
footage.
you. I'm not trying to convince you of it either. Again, I was telling you what I saw and what I took from it.
Okay.
Not once have I said you have to think this way or think this way. That's not what I'm here to do. I thought we were just going to have a conversation about what we saw in that, and that's what I did. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to tell you you're all wrong. I mean, Jeremy's wrong, but tell you you're all wrong. Because anything you said, Brandon, so far, I can't say you're wrong about. You've been clear. You can't 100% say it is. You can't 100% say it's not. You can't 100% say it's not the light. You're not making these bold statement claims right now. So that's why I'm not trying to dismiss anything you're saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, not 100%, but I will tell you, I'm pretty convinced that we're watching satellites fall into clouds. But I get where you're coming from. There's still a little ledge to hold on to regarding this footage and plausible deniability to claim.
Yeah, suck my dick, okay? That's my comment to
you. You're in a mood today, Jerry.
Yo, because Sean thinks he can just come in here and overtalk motherfuckers like he's a mod in Gems, bro. This ain't your server here.
Oh, I see.
Never said it was.
This is some baggage from Gems. I gotcha.
And I'm not sure if you realize, Jeremy,
he does that
but
shit
I'm the last one that does.
I don't. People right in the middle of their sentence.
I do.
He won't stop. He'll just keep going
because
and going.
You're very
like
long.
the fucking
You're not saying anything right now.
He's doing it right now. Shut the fuck up.
Because then you'd asked me a question before, and Jeremy, until you're able to tell me to shut the fuck up, I'm not going to listen to you.
Get their statements out and shut the fuck up.
Okay, well, you're not going to talk to me that way and expect me to just listen to you. I can give a shit less what you're saying, Jeremy. Until you have something to actually bring to this conversation,
you already let me get it out because you think you can just overtalk.
Because you're not saying anything relevant.
All
You
right, I
kept
know
asking
I'm
me.
not relevant.
Dude, Sean, you're the
orbiting
guppy
me.
lying to yourself. You see something and you still don't believe it. Either you're not honest or you're a guppy, dude. Why are you talking to
I'm
Jeremy
as
like
honest
that?
as it gets,
You interrupt
and
him
I'm
every
pretty
time he tries
sure
to talk.
many can vouch for that. And that's all there is to it. I'm not. I made it very clear 2 seconds ago. If you guys were listening, I'm not making any claims. I'm not even trying to say anyone was wrong.
Hey, how many? Okay,
Me
Sean.
and Brandon were talking
How
about
many
this earlier,
balloons?
and now I'm able to verbally
Sean,
tell him exactly what I thought about the videos.
how many balloons does NASA have in orbit?
At any given time, in orbit, none. No balloons in orbit, but actual strata balloons and weather balloons. Oh, they have a lot. NOAA has a lot.
You said they have no balloons in orbit? Okay. What about how long was their balloon?
I didn't say.
How
I
long
said
was
none
their
of the balloons are in orbit. You just stated
Okay,
about
how
balloons.
long was the Echo? How long was the Echo balloon in orbit?
Again, Echo balloon wasn't in orbit. Why do you keep saying Echo balloon?
Just
Balloons
showing
don't
that you
orbit.
don't know shit.
They're
You
able
don't
to
know
control
shit, dude.
their program as
Your brain won't even let you.
I guess not.
They tell you right to your face, okay? And now they're saying they could launch balloons into orbit from the ground. I showed it in three
they don't
videos
launch
ago.
balloons
That
into
from
orbit.
NASA video.
Okay, can you share it?
Video.
Can you share it?
It's in my video.
Here's the thing. Here's a difference between trying to figure out what these satellites did and whether they did this or not is a complete different story. If you want to start talking strata balloons and the capabilities of the balloons, then you're in my fucking wheelhouse, and I have no problem talking about it.
Yeah.
Because do they have satellites that they put on the strata balloons? Absolutely, they do. Do you want to talk about how NASA launches these things for different situations? They absolutely do.
You're one of the you're one of the people who said who laughed when I said there's satellite balloons. You're one of the people who laughed.
No, wait, no, Brent, you're lying. You're lying right now. Because if you,
I'm
how much you want to bet?
Dude?
You willing? Yeah,
You're
willing to put $100 on it? You willing to put $100 on it?
Put a fucking $0
I can bring footage up right now from 5 years ago. Me talking about this. I'm not the one, Brandon or Brian. Not the one.
Pull it up then.
I'm the one who talks about how they have satellite on balloons. So, okay, are you gonna bet that $100?
Okay,
I'm not gonna waste my time to entertain you.
Then if you're being honest, so do they claim to have satellites in orbit?
No, they do not put balloons in orbit. Do they have balloons that they use for satellite capabilities?
Yes.
Yes.
They put satellite balloons in orbit. Do they claim?
No.
All right. Yeah, everybody heard.
How do you put a balloon in orbit? How do you put a balloon in orbit?
I don't know how you put a balloon in orbit.
Again, do you know what the orbiting is?
Look at my satellite video, okay, on Flat Earth Test, and it shows what NASA site. Speaking of launching a balloon into orbit from the fucking ground, it doesn't show it, but it says it. And
does it say launching a balloon into the stratosphere or?
Bro, they claim to have balloons in orbit. Okay, Echo was.
Do you understand what orbiting is?
For 6 years. Do you understand what orbiting is? They consider geostationary
can you share that, please?
They consider something just sitting up above your head orbiting. Do you understand that, Sean? They consider something just sitting over your head orbiting.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You talking about geocentric orbit? Is that what you're talking about?
Geostationary, bro. Geostationary.
Oh, okay. Do you understand how far away they have to be to do this?
Fucking 2 feet. What's it for? A balloon is just pulling itself. Are these satellites are dropping? Obviously, your eyes are showing something dropping toward the clouds, whether it's atom or not. Something's dropping toward the clouds at free fall speed, but your math is saying something else. But your brain is showing you. You know, everybody's seeing something falling in toward the clouds, but your brain won't let you. You're vested somehow, man. Is my opinion, because I don't think that's
your opinion.
Man.
The funny part, you just ran it on like 6 different things. So if you want to pinpoint one, we can talk about it. But again, if you want to talk about satellite balloons, yes, they have them, and I've always said it. So if you want to say I'm lying again, or I'm full of shit, or I said something, maybe you want to check your facts first.
Well, I think you did say that. Let me interject
I take
here.
back lie. I apologize on that.
Well, let me interject.
Okay, then you didn't know. You're ignorant on it, I'll say.
Let me interject here just for a second because, Sean, I think I heard you say that Project Echo wasn't in orbit. They do say it was in orbit. at 944 to 1,048 miles. So yeah, it was supposedly way out there.
Okay.
But they did
That's
have
how they
it.
fool
it
the
wa-
people, bro.
Wait, this is the one that they like the first one they. Okay, this isn't a balloon.
Well, yeah, it was inflated, and the story is that
Yeah,
it wasn't
but-
relying on buoyancy. So if that's
That's because
what you're saying,
if I believe correctly, they launched this from a shuttle or a rocket, and then it inflated way up in space. It didn't launch it from Earth and it as an inflated object.
well, yeah, why can't they do that with balloons? There's no problem with that. What's the problem? That would make sense to me if you're going to get a balloon up really high.
It's not the same caliber. Yeah, but it's not the same caliber as a balloon as what Brandon was just talking about, or Brian was talking about. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
That's what I took from it, because when he said something about satellite balloons, I 100%. I know they have satellite balloons. They use them. Yeah, 100%. I know that, and that's why I didn't understand when he was like, "You said." I'm like, "Dude,
You don't know that.
I'm
That's
very
what they
open about.
told you.
That's what they
brought it
told
up.
you. That's what they told you when you believe, bitch. You don't
Okay,
know
Jeremy,
that.
go ahead
That's
and
all.
jump
That's
in.
all they told
Huh?
you when you
What do
believe
you know?
it.
Okay, Jeremy,
Like a
what
good
do
little-
you know about
good little
strata
boy.
balloons and balloons
You're a
they
good
use?
little boy,
What do you
Sean.
know about it? What do you know about it, Jeremy?
I know the LTE has a couple dozen balloons, and they got blanket coverage over their whole continent, or their for their.
How many
phones.
do they? Yeah, and how many do they use?
I thought they said
Did
a
they tell
dozen,
you?
man, but I forgot, man.
Mhm.
It was.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
the-
it was a little thing. I forgot. I think it was a dozen, but I'll say two just to be safe.
And the longest balloon flight the record right now for a balloon in the sky to stay there is 300 days. It was only done once. The average is 100 days.
That we know about,
Yeah,
though,
they
Sean.
rotate
Over 6 years.
that we
doesn't-
know about. I mean, publicly
In-
available
in
information.
retrospect, no,
Material
I
that can
wait,
up there.
when have we had a conversation about the Parker Project? Because I've never talked to you about that. Why? Because I've never.
That's funny. I didn't say.
So how would
I
you?
didn't say
How would
Parker,
you?
but that's what I was thinking, dude.
How would you say that I say this if we've never even had a
No,
conversation about it? You're making that assumption because there's many people, and a few of them here, that know me, and I go against a lot of technology, what a lot of people say in technology. I literally go over to Jim's server to find the ones that think they're the smartest people there and go, hey, what do you think about laser weapons? What do you think about space-based solar energy? And they tell me I'm full of shit the whole time. When I sit there and laugh.
I
go
never
against
hear you
all the
going
time.
against them guys. I've been in there for a year
Jeremy,
straight, 12
here's the
hours
best
a
part,
day,
Jeremy.
and I
Jeremy,
never heard you say shit against
here's
them
the
guys.
reason why. Because when you're over there, you don't stop talking, you don't stop whining, and you don't listen.
You stay riding your dick, bro. I never heard you
That's
go
the
against
funny
none
part.
of them motherfuckers.
That's the funny part, Jeremy. You sound like a little kid right now in a grown man conversation.
But you're lying. You're coming in here lying.
You want to bet $100? Because I got that on recording too. I've talked about it for years on my stream, Jeremy.
And you were
So
on
if you
that
want
with
to say some
Jose's.
bullshit again, say it with some money behind it.
Stay
How about
riding
that,
your
Hold
dick,
on,
bro.
I'll
Stay
bet
dick
anything
riding.
you want, bro.
That's your mode of transportation.
You did not stand up for me when I was talking about the balloons in orbit. I was speaking to the Satelloons and talking about the Google Project Loon.
Satelloon,
You
that
did
Echo,
not
hang
defend
on.
me one
You're right.
fucking bit,
That
dude.
Echo,
So don't
the
act like
Echo
you
balloon,
did.
Because he's a
the
dick
Echo
rider,
balloon,
bro.
and the Strata
He's in
balloons
here trying
aren't
to
the
make
same thing.
excuses
First of
for
all,
this fucking Indian satellite shit.
Jeremy,
Just
you
stay riding
sound
dicks,
like a
bro.
little kid right now. I don't
Stay
have
riding dicks, bro. That's
time for you.
That's how you get around.
Brian was perfectly fine, so I don't mind talking to him.
Go ahead.
But you sound like
Hey,
ridiculous.
what can I hear?
I just
Hey,
had that
what can I hear?
conversation with. I just had that conversation with Brian about me going over to gyms and talking about that shit, and then 2 seconds later,
Where
you
can I
jump in
hear
like a
that,
little
though,
kid,
man?
acting like I don't do that.
Because I've been there for a year.
That's
12
true about
hours
all
a
the time.
day
I've talked
straight.
about
I
it
never
on
heard you go
Jose's.
against them.
Again, Jeremy, I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to Brian, who was
doubt.
engaging with what I was saying. I talked about it on my
where's
stream.
somebody
Talked
go
about it on
to
Jose's.
listen to Jim's server? Does anybody record it and play it?
Jim does.
They delete
What's
it
the
after
channel?
12 hours so we don't catch them out on their bullshit. But
Yeah, but
he
either
does
way,
leave
I
it for
still
12
want to.
hours.
Then get
What channel
OBS
is
and
it, though?
record it yourself. Jeremy, you're there 12 hours a day. You said it yourself. Get OBS and record it then.
On my phone, yeah.
Okay, well, the stuff you're saying I haven't ever done, I have on recording.
Well, what'd you do
So
it
don't
once?
tell me
Because I've
I
been
do
in there
and
for
don't do
fucking
shit.
mad long, and I ain't heard you go against these guys yet.
Jeremy,
usually riding
you're
your dick.
still a noob in flat Earth. Do you not understand that? I've been around far longer than you've been around.
When
You're
was the
still a
last time
baby
you
flat
went
earther
against
compared
these
to
guys?
what? I don't want to hear that shit.
When was the last time you
When
went
was the
against
last
these guys?
time I
Sean?
talked about that shit?
Dude, I can't
All
hear
the
what you're
fucking
saying
time.
when I'm talking. If you weren't a rude fuck, stop over talking, motherfucker.
Okay.
This ain't
Okay,
Zen
Jeremy,
server,
go ahead.
bro. You can't just
Go
come in
ahead.
here and start
Yeah,
over
you're not
talking
my
me.
dad,
Who do
so
you
I'm
think
not
you
gonna listen
are?
to you. You're
This
not talking to
really
me.
Who
isn't
do you think
helping
you
other
are, bro?
members get involved in conversations about flat Earth. All of this, so I don't know what's going on, but it's not really a flat Earth convo.
And I like it to be a conversation. I'm not into this bickering crap. And again, Jeremy, it's not my server, and I don't ever mute you, so I don't even know why you're
And
crying.
why are you
Go cry somewhere
provoking
else.
most of it?
I don't
You're not
provoke most of it. I was having a perfectly good conversation with
doing
Brian
your.
just a minute ago, and Jeremy jumped in again.
Okay, well, go ahead. Finish up your combo, Brian.
Okay.
I really want to know the channel name, or if anybody could post a link to that channel, because I can never find it, man. Because even if it's stuff 12 hours old, I just want to be able to like watch it sometime.
Debate. Look up debate flat Earth and more.
Isn't the stream on a different channel now? It's like People of Earth or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't on
I
debate
don't even.
more.
Honestly, I don't even go to the YouTube channel, so I have no clue. That's what I assumed it was.
Maybe somebody in chat will know it. I'll watch for it.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, I've said things, and been wrong, and I try to call myself out if I'm wrong about something. We've all probably said dumb shit on the spot one time or another. But to me,
and to be honest,
if you don't call yourself out, you're kind of still held accountable, man. And I'm not 100% sure that you said that there was no satellite balloons, but I'm 100% sure you didn't defend the fact.
I'm gonna change.
No, I've always talked about that, and Brandon, you know damn well that I'm not like Curve. And to be honest, I used to go against Curve all the time, Jeremy. I know exactly what you're dealing with there, and that's why I don't involve myself in it.
Must be some history behind that.
I'm not sure who you said sent it, but yeah, again, 8-inch square per mile is a very layman's way of explaining it. We all know there are mountains and valleys, so it's not going to be an exact 8-inch per square mile. It's just a layman's way of explaining it, or describing the tangent that we see.
What would the mountains and valleys have to do with anything? I mean, it would have.
It would be 8 inches per mile squared, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. But it's not a perfect sphere. It is a bumpy sphere. The surface has bumps and holes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a question though, man, for anybody really. If it's 8 inches per mile squared, okay, if it's 1 degree for 70 miles, then basically that 70 miles to the eye would look just like a slope. It wouldn't be a curve. If it's not even 1 degree of curvature, it would just basically be a hill, like a downward slope. And I don't know, man. I got mixed feelings when I think about that in my head, man. It's kind of confusing.
Well, that was why when I was saying that the 8 inches isn't an exact measurement. We'd have to be living on a perfectly smooth basketball for that to be the case. It's the layman's term. It's a layman's measurement. You literally have to use a topographic map and understand that it's the way it slopes, the way we have valleys and mountains is why we can't have an even amount of the distance. You have to add offsets to that.
Yeah, but it's almost a perfect sphere. I mean, it's smoother than a cue ball, they say. But check this, even if it was 50 miles, it'd still be right about the... If it was 50 miles at the equator, it'd still be a little more round than a cue ball. It'd have to be a little over 50 miles to stop being as round as a cue ball.
But
we're not talking about the pairness or the spheroidness or whatever. What he's talking about, Brian, is not the general shape, but that the surface is not perfectly smooth, and therefore you can't get a perfect measurement for a sphere because it's not perfectly smooth. A perfectly smooth sphere of the size that they claim the Earth is would be the 8 inches per mile squared. It's not a perfectly smooth sphere because we have bumps and holes. We have hills and valleys.
Which is why we do our tests on water to get the closest we can to smooth as far as consistency goes.
Yeah, on the surface of water, you would have that 8 inches per mile squared. Right, Sean? I mean, no issues there.
Say again?
On the surface of water.
Well, we don't measure it on the surface of water. It'd be the same topography, just water filled in on it.
Yeah, but the surface of the water is level, right? It's all at the same altitude.
No, that's why we have to have a mean line. Otherwise, we would just be like all our coasts at the same elevation, and they're not.
Is still water conform to gravity at 8 inches per mile squared if it's not flowing, not moving? Holy shit,
Yes,
man! Why is
every
it like
single
pulling
water
teeth with you motherfuckers?
every single water molecule. You see, you asked me a question and then you're talking.
Because you're like
Each water molecule that is in any body of water is all affected by gravity around the globe.
pulling teeth.
Yeah, so if you had like, let's say, an inland lake where there was no waves, it was all level, that would show 8 inches per mile squared, right?
No.
Well,
Again, it's the topography of it. They're both short. If you walk around that lake and took elevation shots, it's not going to be an even elevation on one side as the other.
the lake
It
is
may
going to be.
be side.
Talking about the water.
Wait. Okay,
Water,
so
not
something's not right here.
Level.
Something's not right here.
fucking
Are you
water
talking
is,
about the
is
coast
curved.
would
Is
be
that
this
what you're referring
different
to?
height, or the water would be?
Holy shit!
The coast.
Yeah, the
No,
coast
we're talking about
obviously
the
could be a
water.
different height because you could have a cliff on one side.
Yeah.
So the coast isn't what they're
Yeah.
talking about. They're talking about the surface of the
Oh, okay,
water
yeah.
would have to
Yeah.
be of
That would-
necessity
no.
the same height.
We're wasting
That
our
could be-
time
no,
with this guy.
It wouldn't, because of currents and tides. It wouldn't. It doesn't have to be. No.
But
If
he
you're talking
already
about on
in the
East
scenario
Coast-
he said no currents or tides or no waves.
No, but he was talking about a lake. But a lake.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a lake, that's a very small body of water compared to the ocean,
Yeah.
right?
Why
Yeah.
are we even doing this?
But that's what he was
why are we
asking
doing
about.
Point, Sean, is it 8 inches per
Why
mile
are we-
There is
squared
no,
or not?
okay. So that's no. That is a very lame. If you want to talk within how, okay, better yet, I probably should have asked this question originally. How big is a lake?
It's 100 square miles.
Approximately, yes, it'll work.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, look. So they consider a lake or a sea, a salty body of a lake, basically an inland, a salty body of water.
Right.
You know, not connected to the ocean. They call it sea. So a big sea
Wait,
is like a saltwater lake, right?
Start over, because what you just said, I don't understand what you're even trying to say.
I don't even know why I said that, man. I thought y'all was talking about something else, to be perfectly honest. But yeah,
I wasn't even trying to be rude. I was just like, literally, I just couldn't, like.
So 8 inches per mile squared. If the water's laying flat and there's no wind, it should be damn close, if not spot on, to 8 inches per mile squared for at least a couple hundred miles.
Why was it like
at
pulling
100
teeth
miles?
to get
I
you to
would say
say
yeah,
that?
but that's what I said.
Why was it like
No,
pulling
Jeremy,
teeth to
I
get
asked.
you to
I
say
said.
that?
I even
though?
said it. I probably should have asked this. Okay, again, I said I probably should have asked this from the beginning. How big is the lake? Didn't I? I just. He said 100 miles. I said yes, 8 inches square per mile. You can measure it out that way. Yeah.
Bro, we were talking about the water, and then you started talking about the coastline and the land. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
bro?
you're right, 100%. And then I said, wait. Well, first of all, Brandon corrected me. He said, "Dude, we're talking about a lake." And I said, "Okay, you're right." And then I said, "I should ask how big this lake is." He said 100 miles. And then we continued on the conversation. I'm not seeing where you're having a problem with what I even said.
The problem is the amount of. All right, never mind. Just go ahead. It took us 20 minutes, and now here we are.
Yeah, you're correct. Correct. Okay. It took 20 minutes for me to be clear on what was being asked, and I said that, and then I gave you an answer. That's how it works.
All right.
Brandon, did you guys?
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
Did you guys talk about that video, or were you going to, or no?
The one that I put out?
Oh no, the one that I mentioned to you last night. I don't even know if you watched it or not.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Which one, Bob? Refresh my memory.
It was like SpaceX Passenger One or something like that, and I think it was Sunday that they had it up or whatever, that they put it up. I might have saved it in my list. I can see if I can get to it.
No, I didn't have a chance to look at it. In fact, I forgot all about it. I went to I put out another video on the cloud satellites. But if you can find it,
I'll bring time,
it up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll go grab it then and put it in general.
Okay. Cool.
And then there's one other video. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but basically this these guys, they took what Pebble in the Pond did, and then they tried to recreate that on an even smaller scale, and it looks like they successfully were able to do that. So
Is that Sky Free? Is that who you're
what's that?
Is it Sky Free that did that? Pebble in the Pond observation?
I'll have to check my Reddit. I saved the post, but
Sweet.
I can check.
Yeah, heck yeah, that'd be great.
Oh
to
no,
see.
you got there's a video for that. I want to see that, man. It seems like everything in real life we can scale one way or another. But I got a question for Sean. Like, what do you think that we could scale an orbit using like little electromagnets of different variety and power? Like they say that okay, the Earth's too big and all that, you know, for us to replicate it, but we can make different size electromagnets using different amounts of current. So we could make.
Okay, Brandon, in general.
All right. Yeah, but so we can make like some light electromagnets that barely have any magnetism at all, but a tiny bit, or we can make something with a little bit more magnetism, something bigger, and replicate a planet or a star or something. Well, shouldn't we in real life be able to demonstrate?
I would think, but I guess their excuse on that is the gravity of the Earth ruins it or whatever. But yeah, I would think
we'd
somehow.
have to do it in a little chamber like free falling or something.
Right.
But it seems like they always got an excuse of why they can't demonstrate reality.
Every time.
Why
Yeah.
they can't scale it.
It's always, what, you want us to make a Earth-sized model? Like, no, I just want to see something, like a practical demonstration of something that you're claiming to back it up because it's fantastical.
Well, I don't know why they can't make that sphere. If this is fluid dynamics, I don't know why they can't make the sphere with the gas on the bottom and the gas on the top spin the same speed as the surface of the sphere.
Yeah.
I don't think you need that's out of the realms of putting water on a ball where you would need gravity or some shit. It's just fluid dynamics.
That's what they say.
They can't do it because it fucking isn't possible.
Yeah, I don't care, how long you spin that thing for. That solid is going to move at a different speed than the gases that surround it.
You're definitely not.
Man, I got cut off. I got cut off for a second, but it seems like okay, if they're saying the Earth's gravity's getting in the way, they could do it like with a fan, a high-powered fan blowing shit upwards, like they do the skydiving and the indoor skydiving, or they could do it in fluid, to offset the gravity. There's ways to offset the gravity, or do it free falling in a chamber or something. Which that's getting a little bit more far-fetched, but it's still possible. I mean, if they wanted to demonstrate gravity, if it was possible to demonstrate an orbit, they would. I promise you they would. And they haven't.
Brandon, go ahead and back it up to like 16 and a half minutes so you can watch this quote unquote rock.
Here we go. Yeah, that's nice and big. All right. Hey Jeremy, that was pretty funny, man. Dick riding is your mode of transportation earlier. That was pretty hilarious, dude. There we go.
I mean, Sean's okay sometimes, but when he won't let me get a fucking word out and just talks all over me, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, that is frustrating shit. But to me, man, we catch all these flaws in their footage when they're trying to show us things more or less as proof, showing orbits, showing rockets and all this stuff, and we find so many. I mean, how many freaking? We've got everything from a guy twirling nothing in front of him to a guy grabbing another guy's belt loop to pull him back. I mean, a microphone in the neck, stuff. What do you call it? A damn toy stuffed animal appearing in the screen.
Okay, right there. Do you see this? Are you watching this?
Yeah. What do you see, Bob?
It's okay. You can watch it basically the whole way, like from way back, but you can see it look like it's wiggling. Okay, and then where's this shot coming from?
I don't know. It's like a super telephoto lens or something. Is that what it's supposed to be from?
Look where this shot has to be. Where's this camera at that it's watching this rocket look like it goes down?
Yeah, this one always boggles my mind when they show this one. They say it's just perspective, but
And then look at what they transitioned to. Where was that camera? Where was that? Where in the world could that camera have possibly been to be that shot right before this one?
They don't say it's just perspective when it's going down. They say it actually is going down.
Oh, they do. They say, oh yeah,
but I'm not talking about the rocket itself. I'm talking about the camera. Where could that camera have possibly been positioned to get what they just shot right there?
I don't know. That's a good point. I have no idea. On a helicopter? No clue. It's a good question, though.
But whenever you're watching it go up, you can watch it like it's wobbling back and forth like it's flailing or something like that. It's ridiculous. But then coming up, it's going to swap over to the rocket booster. And if you watch it like just right in the YouTube video, because I don't know how good the stream is on Discord, but if you watch the actual YouTube video, like it looks like old timey CGI graphics on the rocket booster. It's really sad, basically.
What country is this from?
This is supposed to be SpaceX.
Oh my!
This whole thing where they show the booster is just not impressive to me at all.
Don't they admit that this rockets they show us are CGI? Are they trying to claim them as real? I know the only one I've heard them trying to defend was the one with the mouse on it, and like some of them try to defend them rockets landing back on a pad, but with the 8 cutouts in a row, 8 launches back to back to back to back to back to back to back. The cameras cut off at landing. 8 in a row.
No, I don't think they. No, I've never heard anybody admit that those are CGI. I've always heard them defend those.
Yeah, they defend that one.
Yeah.
Is this a fucking wide-angle lens?
That, man.
Is this a wide-angle lens? Any of these cameras?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, we can just dismiss this immediately. Right? We can't use wide-angle lenses to do shit.
That's true. Yeah, we have to throw this out. Yep.
It's distortion of reality. It's like the black swans getting distorted. You know, we can't use shit that distorts reality. Soundly's Bridge, we could throw that out. All kinds of shit. Whenever they need to use it, though, it's
the atmosphere itself over long distance. It's always hazy. Just sometimes you got to look a little further, but you're always going to get, haze, blur, refraction, mirages, shit like that. Sometimes you just have to look a little further. It's always there. But here's my point, man. Here's my thing. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
We hear you.
Okay, their definition of an orbit. NASA says they launch satellites into Earth. So by that definition, you could launch a drone into orbit 100 feet off the ground. So they're saying they have to go a little higher. Big deal. If it's just sitting in one spot, that's how they fooled everybody. Talking about these satellites in orbit, and they're just sitting up there in geostationary orbit. But there's a couple things. So it's supposed to be in a lagoon. Okay, they weren't in orbit, so they should have gravity for a portion of that trip to the moon.
Let me address something that got said earlier. Got lost in the heat of the moment with Sean. If those things are falling towards Earth, they need to stay level with the surface of Earth to be in orbit. So you would have needed some kind of propulsion system to level those satellites out. Otherwise, they would have crashed very quickly into the surface. Did they plan on having them satellites up there for 2 weeks or longer than that? Because they would have just crashed. They wouldn't have needed to level out with the surface of Earth.
They're thinking of an elliptical orbit. What they're thinking of in their mind is an elliptical orbit where it makes the turn and kind of pulls it back, and then it starts getting speed, and then it makes another kind of turn. So in their heads, they could picture elliptical orbits. But if something's dropping down toward the Earth, if it's in orbit, there's nothing to stop it. There's nothing to stop it. It could keep going, whatever, but it go further. But it's going to continue down toward the Earth. It needs something to level it out. Period. There's no getting around that. And if it was going upward, turning it by their math, it should keep going upward.
This is real.
Yeah, like I said, I'm generous saying 15 miles, man. That's being generous with that. It's probably more like about 10 or 8.
Right.
I've seen a ton of footage of high altitude shit that's real life amateur shit that no reason to fake it.
Yo, 2 seconds ago. Hold on, Brian. 2 seconds ago, the camera on the right. 2 seconds ago, the camera on the right had the Earth looking concave. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the
The
Earth right
camera.
there. It looks fucking
Oh my goodness, where is it?
concave.
Where is it?
What are they, concave Earthers or?
This
Shout
one's
out to
coming.
First
This
Emo.
one's
Did y'all see
coming
that video?
back down to Earth. That's why this one's coming back down. Is starting its entry burn. Yeah, this is the stage 1. This is stage 2. So they're saying this one's 230. So this one is coming down. That's why it looks so low, supposedly.
Hey, if everybody looks at under pressure, under no pressure, I think it's Spurs Chemo. Shout out to him. He did a video. It's supposed to be from the beginning where they're projecting the Earth behind something, and
Yeah, that was
and had
Shouts out to Chemo. That was a good catch right there. That was. I don't see how they could get away with that with the angles. They said it was a focal length. Once again, they had mad excuses.
Brandon, go select 22 minutes and 35 seconds.
All right, 22.
And then pause it like right when it gets to 38 or 39.
Oh shit! I just had 38 too. 22. All right. All right.
Man, why are they defending this obvious fuckery? Why? I mean, I can understand one or two of them if they work for it, but all of them, the defenders,
my stream froze.
It's crazy, man.
Oh, I froze it. I paused
Did you
it. It's at 22:38.
Okay, hold on. Let me check. Let me check mine just to see if that's the right spot. Okay, 22:36. I'll let it play. 2 bursts. There it is. What is that? Okay, go to 29, I guess.
29. Okay.
Try 29. It should come on the left side of the screen. There should be this spinny white thing to the left.
So 29, 22:39 or 22:29?
It is 22:39.
Okay. Yep, I'm there. Are you talking about this thing right here that's like sitting on the edge of the engine here?
No. Okay, so it's on the left side. Why is your screen not looking like mine on YouTube? What is going on here? You know what? I'll pull up your stream on YouTube instead of trying to watch it through Discord, and I'll see if you're at the right spot. Because your screen doesn't look exactly like mine.
Okay.
That is weird.
I've suspected that before. Like, I know it. Good.
Okay, yours is called Transporter 1 Mission. That's what I'm on, Transporter 1 Mission. And at 22 minutes and like 38 seconds, I can watch this object. It looks like a space station. It appears on the screen and then spinning, and then it like quickly shifts off screen. It appears exactly at right around almost exactly at 22:39.
Well, maybe I didn't play it quite far enough. Oh, that thing right there. Yeah.
It's off to the left of that left screen.
Yeah. I see. I see it now. I was just a couple seconds ahead of it. Here, let me start it back up at 37. And then there is something that comes. Yeah, I see it. I don't know if that's supposed to be part of the rocket or what that's supposed to be. But yeah, there's definitely something that slides out there. Does she say anything in the video like they're doing something or?
I'm not sure. Actually, I wasn't listening to whether or not she did or not.
Here it comes. Oh, yep. There went something. Who knows? There was definitely something there, though.
Yeah.
It's a digital Zoom artifact. I mean, what the fuck? They're gonna have an excuse for anything.
I know. Yeah, it's lights off of the cubes. The third one hits to the spot where the light hits it at the right angle. I don't think so. And it just happens that light hitting it looks exactly like you would expect a parachute opening and is offset exactly the same as you would expect a parachute to be offset from that angle.
Oh, what they tell you earlier? It was pareidolia. Was that the word?
Yeah, that was a good one. Pareidolia was another excuse that I gotten today. Had some good excuses today. Let's see. I wrote a couple of them down.
I forgot. Yeah,
that thing might have been like one of their stages or whatever, like flying off, like releasing or something. I don't know.
Cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance. Oh yeah, we've been hearing a lot about that lately. Ever since we talked about them having cognitive dissonance. The video quality is shitty. That was another excuse. Optical illusions, we heard. Why would satellites deploy?
If they had a station up there. Go ahead.
Why would satellites deploy parachutes? They only do that when they are falling towards Earth. Yeah, good point. And the classic, you're a moron. That's what I've heard today.
Yeah, we got that a lot.
Is it strange that they interact with human beings and know that human beings, or should know that human beings, lie and have reasons to lie and will lie for benefit and gain and stuff like that, but they'll insist that your eyes are lying even though they're inanimate objects, and won't concede that NASA might be lying?
Well, these people don't think they can. These people think they're so smart that they can't be fooled.
Think about this.
I guess. But it seems like they always pick the inanimate object as somehow lying to you, but the people, the human beings that are known to lie, they're definitely not lying to you.
Yeah.
Think about this. Okay, so Picard went up in August Picard a long time ago, and that was like way back in the mid 1900s. Okay, so they launched him up in a capsule. Okay, and we see Felix Baumgartner go up in capsules. Okay, so I mean, in my opinion, they would have stations up there like that. Could be something, but to me, it would have to be up there, on balloons or something. In which case, okay. In which case, there could be people on them. They could just send like a giant, upscale version of a capsule, something like a space station. It just wouldn't be as high, and it wouldn't be going 17,500 miles an hour. But they could have something up there, but they couldn't show us.
21st century blimp or something.
Their model, they couldn't show us because their model is more. They could never do a 360-degree pan.
What
see the balloons or something, or you'd see the seat. And their model is more important than their technology or showing us what they have.
Well, and why would they want to tell everybody?
Not many of them would have to know about it either, man. Not many of them would have to know about it. They could send shit up there, man. I don't know.
Bro, billions of people would have to be in on it. Billions.
Yeah.
Everyone at NASA, down to the janitor, the secretaries, the guy that works in the cafeteria, they all got to be in on it.
Right. The guy who refills the vending machines on the weekends would have to know about it, obviously.
Yeah.
You know that guy can't
Here, Brandon,
keep his mouth shut.
I'll put that other one in the general.
Says that that there's no that there's nobody's been to space. I assure you, nobody's been to space. He's a decorated retired Russian cosmonaut, and then look at the Polish cosmonaut, another old guy. Whistleblowers. These are whistleblowers coming on saying that the Earth is flat from up there. From as high as he went, the Earth is flat. And he's like, I assure you. So these are whistleblowers, okay? They act like there ain't been people coming out to talk. And been a couple other ones, man, but it gets rejected, man. I didn't even hear an excuse for them to.
The excuse I heard for the Polish astronaut was he was joking. So I don't know if that's true because I don't speak Polish. Is that what they speak? Polish? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But this Sky Free video, they've done a lot of this kind of stuff with these mini mirages over these little lakes and stuff. Really interesting. Very small scale. And if I remember correctly, this is like not very far at all.
No. If you play the sound, she says it's like within 20 feet that they make this happen.
Oh, 20 feet, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Look at that. Hey, it went over the curvature. Did you see? We found it. It's right there.
Yeah, and shout out to the Plain Truth. He's demonstrated on a bigger scale how the horizon, it's just an apparent spot. That is nothing more. He showed it like vanishing off and spotting up in some sections and spotting down. He's caught some days where you could see it plain as day, just glitching out kind of, where it's blurring out and then comes back into focus. So that it varies up and down. It's all apparent, man. It's not a physical spot that starts hiding ships, in my opinion, man. I think that's been proven 100 times over, man. It's just depending on what you're arguing, they kind of weasel out of it.
Right.
Well, unless we get some hardcore proof of the atmosphere magnifying, by sending a balloon up or somebody doing some kind of test over time, none of this optical shit is going to do us any good because they say light's bending down, and you know that's got them covered pretty much.
I thought that was common knowledge, man. That the atmosphere magnifies things at a distance.
They deny it constantly. No, I'm at constant war at them and Gems over the atmospheric magnification almost every fucking day.
Yeah, we need that hard measurement if you want to hope of convincing people on a wide scale. If that's what your goal is, you know, we've talked about that before. It doesn't have to be anybody's goal. Personally, I want to do it.
The moon on the horizon is proof. The moon on the horizon, or the sun.
I mean,
on the horizon.
if that's not what we're going to do, what do we even do?
Enough information out there for at least a certain type of person to figure this out because we did it, right?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that's why we're here.
But they don't. Yeah, but most people ain't like we. The certain type of people is very few.
I would question if they're not that kind of person. I would question whether or not any amount would convince them. If they're not that kind of person.
That's why I was asking, man. Like, why are they defending obvious bullshittery? Like, I could understand one or two of them, but there's like a bunch of people defending. I mean, just not believing what their eyes are showing them. And seeing obvious fakery, seeing a stuffed animal appear in the top left, you know, like it's being beamed up, and they say, "Well, they did that on purpose."
Augmented.
No, they did it on purpose.
Yeah, that augmented reality thing. That's how they get.
That just shows you. Yeah.
That's how they get all that goofy shit on the ISS.
If you guys are watching this video, basically they get that guitar pick there to go away and come back then very quickly.
I'm gonna have to watch this in detail. I saw Pebble's footage was in here earlier. You're famous, Pebble.
Yeah, they like she comes right out and specifically references Pebble in the Pond's footage and indicates that's what they're doing, but on a smaller scale, basically. So,
what channel is this?
Sky Free. I'll put it
called
in.
Sky Free.
Sky Free. Yeah, I like Sky Free.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they do. They do a
See,
lot.
I don't get all these videos. I'm supposed to be getting notifications
from Sky Free. You don't get the notifications, or what?
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be getting notifications for all their videos. And lately, I've ain't been getting many notifications. Maybe if I unsubscribe and resubscribe or something, I don't know. But
somebody in their comments on this video actually says that they got unsubscribed and they think it's YouTube. So YouTube might be doing some skullduggery, fidgeting or whatever, messing with people's channels. I don't know.
Yeah, they're doing some algorithm psychological manipulation crap in the background because we're dangerous science deniers. And we're going to ruin the earth for the one world order. I don't know what they tell themselves.
All right, let me pitch, if there's an opening, let me pitch the latest idea we've been kicking around.
Go for it.
Kicking around the office. We take some kind of material that is, liquid, and then it hardens. But it conforms to the shape of water. We could put water over it and check just to make sure that it was level. And then we, you make two trenches, I don't know, a half mile, maybe shorter, maybe a little bit longer, right next to each other on the beach. And then once they've dried, you got this material in there, it conforms to level, it dries. Then we put water on top of it just to check to make sure it is indeed, yes, conforming to the shape of the water, the surface of the water to the surface of the material. You measure at frequent points all down the line of this column. Then you flip either one on its side. You do two of these right next to each other. Then you flip them on their side so that the tops of them, the previous tops, are now facing each other. You turn them on their side so that now the tops are now facing each other. And then you measure with a ruler or whatever, a tape measure, you measure the distance between either ends in the middle. And you'll be able to see, are they the same distance from each other, or is it indeed curved?
Oh, man, that's a good, dude, that just opened up my mind to a lot of things. Man, that's why it's important Jeremy's on cue, man, of throwing up ideas, because, man, one idea leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. That's a great idea.
I can't take total credit for that. Brandon came up. I mean, I had the idea before to just do it with one column, but Brandon came up with that idea to use two of them and then face them to each other.
So
that
the
way,
idea
then you don't have to
for
go
having two of them
miles
is
apart.
that
You also
so
don't
you
have
can
to worry
measure
about-
between them to see if there's a difference in distance.
Yeah. For the
Yeah.
because it
Okay,
doubles the
yeah,
deviation. You know, if you just have one, you know, after say a half mile, you're only going to have whatever the curvature is after a half
An
mile.
inch.
It's not
Wait,
much.
you'd have to
Yeah,
flip them
yeah.
opposite though, man. Wouldn't you have to flip them not facing each other because they're going to say that they're both just curving in the same direction? Parallel.
No, you're
No,
gonna
no,
face the tops of them. You're gonna drop them so the tops are facing each other.
Yeah, so they
Okay,
would both
yeah.
curve
I got you.
like away from each other or whatever, right?
Yeah, if the Earth was a
Yeah,
ball,
they would have to.
Yeah, they would curve away from each other. Yeah.
Yeah, be a bulge in the middle, or be a gap in the middle bigger than on the edges. Instead of using the ground or the water,
Oh, it'd be
that's kinda
smaller
what
in the
we're
middle.
trying to project with the water, like
Right, the way
like
he's
with
describing it, it would be smaller in the middle, and as you got
Yeah.
closer to the edges, it would get further and further away if it's curved.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what we try to do, and just use. Then it would be perfectly clear. Yeah. That's a good.
I mean, we need a materials guy to know what material to use, how thick we have to make the things so they don't break or bend.
Yeah, that's what we don't have. We don't have any.
Well, we're gonna have to do that up north. We're gonna have to do it when it's freezing cold outside. We're gonna have to dig some shallow trenches, right? And we're gonna have to put something underneath it where we could like pry bars, where we could level pry it out. We'd have to have a bunch of people, man, and not that many though.
Well, the idea.
And pry it out.
The idea. Hold
Look,
on,
so
Brian.
what we
The
do is
idea.
you put the water in. You put the water in and let it freeze.
Yeah, but the ice will break,
Yeah.
Brian.
The idea was to do it on the beach because it'll be easy to make a mold like that, first of all, in the sand. Second of all, you can move them easily. One person could do this just by taking away the sand from the side of it where you want it to fall.
Yes,
That's
sir.
how they used to move obelisks. They used to move obelisks like that in ancient Egypt. So
Okay. So like a type of styrofoam or a type of plastic, maybe.
Well, I was thinking of the first thing that came to my mind was epoxy because it pours like water. You know, right when you mix the two, and then it pours like water right then, and it hardens over time. But it'll find its own level. I don't know over that distance if how well it would do. But something like that'll harden but won't bend. That'll harden to the point where it won't bend.
We could put reinforcement in there too, like how we do rebar and footers. It doesn't have to be rebar.
Good idea.
They make self-leveling. They make self-leveling concrete. It's probably cheaper than epoxy, I'm guessing. But I don't know about.
No, it's expensive as shit, dude. Self-leveling concrete for a 60-pound bag is like $23-24
dude,
for a smidge of it.
Epoxy is fucking expensive too, man.
It's like $60 a gallon or something.
Yeah, I guess it's not that bad. You could
What we need is a sponsor.
Ruhif. But if you buy it in bulk, it's probably not that bad.
A while though, man. Look, if we construct some forms, we could have it thin. We'd need a few barrels. Is all we'd need. Is a few barrels. We'd have to make it, man. We couldn't buy it. We'd have to make it out of starch and boards, and they'd be real thin, like about for lightness, but thick enough to put a piece of reinforcement in something thin, like so maybe about 3 inches thick and about 5 inches tall, 3 inches wide, maybe 5 inches tall.
This is where we need a materials expert to tell us how thick we would need it so it wouldn't crack or bend.
Did you hear his idea though, Jeremy, about putting
concrete,
Did you hear his idea about putting reinforcement in it, like rebar or something? Because we could, you could pour it right over that reinforcement all the way down. It doesn't have to be solid all the way through, right?
Dude, you just gave me so many ideas.
No, it doesn't have to be the solid material.
The cheapest thing is concrete, guys.
Yeah, but it's concrete. I've worked with concrete before, and unless you make it real thin, you'd have to mix it thin, right?
We could mix it. However, we could do lightweight concrete. We could put styrofoam in it, beads in it, where it's super lightweight, and I mean not super lightweight, but compared to regular concrete,
No, it don't matter how heavy it is.
We have to reinforce it, bro.
It don't matter how heavy the thing is because we're not going to be. It doesn't matter how heavy the thing is. We're not going to be picking it up. We're not even going to be moving it. We're just going to remove sand from the side of it and let it, gently drop on its side.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's how they used to move obelisks in ancient Egypt. They didn't, you could just move sand and move your structure. So
we need 2 of them. So I never thought of that. Yeah, we just need whatever it is. We need 2 of them so they can show each other. And so what we do is, so basically we pour the concrete the same height that it's exactly the height of the water. We just make a little
what you do
trench.
is. What you do is after the concrete's dry, you want to make your form big enough so there's a few inches left on the top. And then once the concrete is dry, you pour the water on top of it, and then you would measure from the surface of the water to the top of the concrete to make sure that it is indeed conforming to the shape of water, because that'll be the first thing. That'll be the first thing they'll say is, oh, that's not level. So you get rid of that right there by...
I'll tell you right now. So for 80 feet, even if we were doing it 1 foot wide, which I'm not proposing this, but I'm just giving you something to compare to do the math. Okay, if you go 1 foot wide and 4 inches deep, you can go 80 foot for about $100. Okay, so basically
you have to mix. Brian, you got to mix the concrete needs to be. I don't even know about if concrete would work, but if it did, you'd have to mix it super thin because I've worked with concrete before, and you could just plop a pile of concrete down and it'll form like a boulder type shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we mix it thin so we could mold it to however we wanted it.
It'd have to be thin enough to flow and find its own level.
Dude, you'd also have to mix like soup, dude. Where it levels
that's how you'd have. Yeah, you'd have to do it really thin, yeah.
And we don't even have to add the rocks in it if we're going to add the reinforcement. But just like a tiny little rod, they're real cheap.
I've proposed this. I've proposed it to them in Gems before, and they said the concrete's going to bend when we move it. Even the way I proposed it with the sand, they said it's going to bend.
No, it ain't going to fucking bend. Not if we reinforce it. Concrete don't bend; it cracks. It has no tensile strength.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Anyway, but so here's the thing. So basically, if we don't got to go a foot wide. We just go a few inches wide. So if we only go 3 inches wide, then we can get we can get about 250 feet per yard. And if we mix it thin and we add some lightweight material to it, like styrofoam or something. Yeah, we could probably get away with this thing for a few $100. We could probably go a mile or so.
You think so? A few $100? Because if it's like $2,000-$3,000 to do this thing, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, we could do it. I know for less than 5, man. But sure of that.
Mike check.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
I mean,
what's up?
Oh, hey, Chris, what's going on, dude?
What's this nonsense about flat Earth? That I'm hearing? What's going on here?
What do you mean? Oh, you is this your first time in a flat Earth server? No.
No, I'm just joking. Just to jump on.
It's called Full Sense.
I mean, does anyone have a better idea?
Pretty dang good idea. Let's see what kind of criticisms people have. Maybe they have something that makes sense.
Jeremy, how old are you?
I'm in my 40s. Wow, what's up?
You're not old enough yet to be like done fighting, sick and tired of arguing. You're not there yet. You got to be like 60 or something.
Bro, I could keep this up forever, but it's just
man, I like that.
I mean, I could go till I'm 80, but where are we going to be when I'm 80? You know what I mean? I want to be somewhere.
We're
going to be right here on Flat Earth,
that little mini wall, man. But here's the thing. So the way I got it pictured in my head is if we're going to make the trench and all that, and we only need to do one of them and lay it on its side next to water, if I'm thinking right. But
no, you got to do 2 of them. You got to do 2 of them.
So it's crystal clear, basically.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah. I had this idea a long time ago, and Brandon stole this from me and then made it his own idea. But which I'm fine with because this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be brainstorming on this shit. So
No,
I'm glad that
it's
you
all
thought
you.
of this
Nope,
because
I don't want credit anymore. It's all Jeremy.
So here it is, 2.5. Okay, we'll split the difference. 2.5 inches, and when we go to lay it flat, you know, we need to put some 3/16 little skinny tiny rods in there, so it doesn't crack. It's not gonna bend. Okay, if it does anything, it'll crack. It's certainly not gonna bend. But even still, when we go to lay it flat, we just need a method or the manpower to do it at the same time.
Bro, one guy can lay them flat, bro. You just remove sand from the side you want it to fall on. Literally, one guy could do this.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you're making a form, when you're digging, you're going to dig a little trench out, but then you want to have boards in it for the sides, because you're talking about digging a trench in sand. You know, you're going to want this somewhat shaped like a square or rectangle thing, however, whatever the dimensions are. Also, if you have the sides nice and flat, you can check it with a level. After when it's on its side, you could check it with a level to make sure that yes, it indeed is. You know, it is laying flat. It didn't bend. Whatever.
Yeah, this is a good idea, man. This is something that we could do without, you know, it wouldn't be, even if we win a little more money, you know, if I'm going to try and draw something up, because if it's on paper, you know, and with an explanation, then we might be able to get some people on board. Because even if we have to spend, you know, around 6 or 7, I mean, what would you say would be the limit? At what price does it start to get out of reach, Brandon?
Oh, I mean, if it's a solid thing, you know, and it has really good potential to work, I'm not too worried about the money. I'm just saying, without trying to raise funding or anything like that, $2,000-3,000 is, we can probably pull.
I was just listening. Sorry to interrupt. I was just listening to that idea. That's quite interesting. Brian, could you just dig a little trench a few inches deep of water and then actually pour in concrete, the actual cement, whatever it is you call the, I forget not cement, yes, so cement into it once the water's already there, and then sort of mix it in situ?
No, I don't think so. You need a mixer to mix it up. You'd have to You'd have to rent something from Home Depot and get a giant mixer. Maybe a few of them. You might even need a couple of them.
Yeah, because you gotta pour it all at the same time.
Well,
it all needs to be mixed. It all needs to be mixed.
That's my point. If you could get, the obvious issue is that such a thing will not flow properly. So if you can get the water in place first, and then you could just run along the trench, you know, it needs to be a few inches deep or whatever, and then pour in the cement and sort of mix it as you go along.
No, okay, you missed the part where I know you said it might not be level. That's why after the concrete is dry, we're going to leave a couple inches at the top of the mold so we can pour water into it and then check the depth of the water.
You need to have something, and if you could put the water in situ first as a little channel, and then...
Yeah, we sand it, man. We just sand it down a little bit, man. We're going to get it close. We'll get it real close, man.
You
if not right on.
Well, yeah, but if you're sanding it down, what's that shape you sanding it down into a curve shape? In which case, you'll invalidate it.
No, we're gonna make it match.
Man, we're going with the
we're gonna make it match.
It doesn't matter, Rumpus.
Well, okay.
We're gonna make it match. Hold on. We're gonna make it match the surface of the water. Obviously, before we tip it on its side, we're not gonna tip on its side if it's not matching the surface of the water, right?
Right.
So if it's high in one spot,
trust me. We need to get right here in this conversation, because I guarantee you we could do a 1 mile, 2 mile thing, and we could get it within probably a half inch, man. He'll probably tell you he's been in, and he's done a lot too. He'll probably tell you a quarter inch if he's tedious enough about it. But I bet you we could get it within an inch or half inch over a mile with concrete. So that wouldn't be that much grinding and sanding, you know. But yeah, we'd have it.
I don't think you'll need any if you mix the shit up thin enough. I don't think you'll need to sand it anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to flow.
Well, that's just it, Jeremy. If you pour it in like water, then you have to pour the exact same amount, because it'll flow like water. But as far as pushing out and displacing toward the outside of the form board, if you poured it exact enough, yeah, you could just pour it super wet like soup and let it dry, And yeah, it should level itself if you.
But you don't need to worry about it. You just need a trench of a few inches deep. It doesn't matter how wiggly this trench is. It doesn't matter how wide it is. It doesn't matter if it varies. Just so long as you can get a surface on it, it doesn't matter how much it wiggles up and down underneath it. The surface would then conform to the shape of the curve of the Earth.
Exactly. That's what
You're
we're
saying
thinking.
pour the water.
He gets it.
You're saying pour the water in the trench. Hold on. You're saying pour the water in the trench. Then pour
or soup. If it really is like soup, if it really is like texture of consistency of soup, then you could just pour it in just dig a trench preferably a mile long, because that'll give you 8 inches of bend.
We're going to do 2 and then
a few inches deep, and then if you could pour some soupy concrete into that at various places. I mean, you could do it. You don't even need to do it in one spot. You could do it every. If you've got enough things, you could presumably fill it simultaneously at various places. I suppose it's much more expensive. But in theory, if it's soupy and takes a long time to dry, it's a set, and you could just point at one spot, and then it would just wait until it fed quickly before it starts setting. Then you know that the top is going to be level and curved, and you're going to have an 8 inches difference over a mile. And then once you've done that, as you then make them go to one another, and you would see the bend in them.
Yeah.
You like this? I feel like you're all fired up on this. Are you like this?
That's an interesting idea. You've because the globiness and satellite.
Test is level flat. That's the test.
Hey, Rumpus, when it comes to concrete or any sort of super thing, all you have to do is puddle it. You just vibrate it a little bit, and then it will settle out and follow.
How would you do that? Level. How would you do that for something that was half a mile long?
Oh, you just go along.
You gotta go work your way down.
With the vibrator. They have vibrators. Oh, Jesus, Brian. There's vibrators for settling concrete. You just run along the trench with it.
George, you got a vibrator that powerful at your house?
George has got everything. George has got everything in his house.
There's many different kinds. There's one that looks like a cylinder on a rod, and that's for going like down in walls and vibrating deep into walls. And then there's surface vibrators.
I mean, obviously, Brian's the expert on here, but presumably there are a lot of occasions when it's very important, isn't it, to when you're pouring out the concrete,
it gets the air out.
Yeah,
it makes the air rise
right.
To the
That
surface.
as well. Yes, that as well. Of course,
guys,
that's very important.
You guys are into this. If we do this and it shows that it's not curving, you guys are going to be flat earthers, right?
George and I would have to have some very long discussions.
Yo, Jeremy, I got a question for Jeremy.
What up, Bab?
Yo, what up? So with this concrete thing, how are you going to measure if it's level or curved? How are you going to measure that?
We're gonna make 2 of them side by. We're gonna make 2. We're gonna pour the concrete. We're gonna pour the concrete, and then once it's dry, we're gonna fill the rest of the.
Yeah. Know what you're gonna.
If the concrete down, then you know that the concrete is level.
It's a good check, but I believe that if this was soupy consistency,
we're still going to check it just to make sure, Rumpus.
Yes, that would be a good check.
We're going to check it.
It would be a good check.
Yes, thank you.
But if it's soupy,
it is easier to the wetter it is, the easier it is to lay flat. But you can do it soup, we still want to be there to move anything around. And the only way we need a vibrator is if we're doing thickness like over 2 feet, and then we have to vibrate it and have the air, the pneumatic vibrators and shit. But I don't think we're going to be that deep. But
we won't need that.
Shit,
Yeah. Well,
I don't think we're going to need that.
Much easier than concrete, guys, is you just come up north, make yourself a trench, and pour water when it's minus 20 out. 20.
Need some reinforcement
and clear
to make something very apparent of whether it's curving or not. In my opinion, I'd say if we did it about 3/4 of a mile, we could, and real tedious and real accurate, I think we could come up with something apparent and maybe not obvious, but to anybody who understands the test, it'd be.
I don't think you'd have to go that far, even.
Well,
I don't think you'd have to go that far.
Well, don't forget, over half a mile, for instance, is only 2 inches, so it's not. You need more than that, really.
Yes, but when we put the 2 face to face.
Yeah, it'd be 4 inches, but yeah, it's
when we put the 2 of them face.
If it was 8, if it was 6, if it was over a foot, that would be nicer. So you need I would say you need a mile, really, to make it absolutely crystal clear to you.
And how are you going to keep this thing from flexing when you turn it up on its side?
Well, I think they were assuming it was made out of concrete.
Okay, here's what we do.
Concrete
Here's what we do. We're doing this on the
concrete
sand.
isn't perfectly rigid.
Well, if they just
Concrete
here's
isn't
what we're doing.
perfectly rigid.
but surely, George, if it's in that sort of sitting down in its curve shape, and then you just sort of dig it out and you just simply rotate it onto its side, it's not going to.
Yeah, we're not even.
It will flex and it will probably break.
Even if it's a
here's
few
what we're
inches
gonna
thick.
do.
Yes.
Here's
Concrete is plastic, man. You take a lot.
we're good,
Brian,
we're good.
hold on, Brian. When you pour floors in a skyscraper, or you take pre-stressed concrete, the stuff flexes when you even under its own weight.
George,
Right, but
listen to me.
But it's not under its own weight. It's being held up by the grass.
All we do is tip it over. Even if it did bend that way a little bit, it would not change the up and down bending. Even if it did
So, I mean,
flex a smidge.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
can I
Yeah,
interrupt for just
boxes.
can I interrupt for just a second? I apologize. There were some problems with the stream, and a lot of people in the audience missed what the experiment is. So, Jeremy, maybe you can just describe it real quickly so that they know what the hell we're talking about.
Okay, here's what we got going on. We're gonna dig 2 trenches right next to each other in the sand on the beach, a half a mile or longer. We're going to mix some concrete up real thin. We don't know what material yet. We're gonna mix some. We're thinking of concrete. We're gonna mix some concrete up real thin, pour it in these trenches. Then we're gonna leave some room on the top of the mold so we can pour water in. Once the concrete's dry, we're gonna pour water in. We're gonna check to make sure that the top of the concrete is the same depth all throughout with the water of both of the concrete blocks that we've just made. We're gonna get rid of the water. We're gonna take away the sand on the side of the concrete blocks we've made until the top is now the side and they're facing each other. Then we're gonna take a tape measure and measure the distance between either end and the middle, and we're gonna see what the fuck the deal is here.
Well,
and then Rumpus is a flat earther after that. The end.
Yeah, I suppose there is a slight problem how you. I suppose if you measure, I was thinking you'd put them against one another. But if, as George says, if you probably pulled something that was half a mile long and you pulled it to, you'd probably just have to.
Giving them excuses, so they're picturing the edges. They're picturing the middle getting squashed down while it's still just sitting there. They're picturing gravity squashing the middle down.
No, we're not.
We're not about that, Rumpus.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not thinking that's not a problem.
No, Rumpus is in on this with us. Good on you, Rumpus.
I'm just concerned because if you just measure, I mean, you need to lift this thing up. Yeah, I mean, okay. Here's the problem.
No, we're not lifting it up. We're removing the sand from the side.
We roll it over.
But you need to move them towards one another, don't you? You need to move. You've got this half a mile lump of concrete. You need to move one to be touching the other.
Just hold on a second.
Which is tricky.
You're gonna do hold on a tape measure and measure the distance. From end to end in the middle.
You got to tip them onto their sides. Surely that's the point. You got to tip them onto their sides.
Yes, we're gonna remove the sand. Listen, Rumpus, one more time.
And then rotate them by 90 degrees.
No, we're not rotating. Listen.
No.
She's not going to do.
Well, hold on. You've got to do that. Otherwise, there's no difference.
Hold on. All we're going to do is remove the sand from the side that we want to, we want it to fall on its side, right? So the side that we want it to tip down on, we're going to remove the sand from that part so that it slowly and gently falls down on its side. And now we have the top
by 90 degrees.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Great. Gently, very gently.
And then you want the other one to do
technically,
we do the same thing for the other one, yes.
So we really only need one, man. We could do 2 to make it more apparent, but we could do a longer one and just do 1 because the string line right next to it we could do easily.
You can't do that, Brian, because the string line is going to be wiggling all over the place. That's the whole point of this thing.
No, after you roll it flat. I'm just saying it'd be there'd be half.
What are you measuring against? If you could create a straight line in the first place, you wouldn't have to go through all this.
No. We're still pouring the thing. We're still pouring it the same exact way, right?
You don't have a reference. But hold on, Brian. You can't just talk about measuring it against something that's straight, because the whole point of this is the whole point of doing this is because you can't find anything that's straight to reference it. You have to put the 2 against one another.
Rumpus, we can make a straight line.
How thick and how wide do you
we're
want
only
to
worried
make
about
No, you can't. That's the whole point. If you could do that, then you would be able to do it.
Let me finish my sentence, please.
Left to right, dumbass.
No,
the string line only bends up and down.
How wide do you want to make this concrete?
Well, I was thinking, this is obviously Jeremy's idea, but I'm assuming I would just go for something like about 2 inches square section or something?
This is me and Brandon's
do you
idea.
mean,
Get
2
credit.
inches?
Unless we're only
That's
doing
my
one.
suggestion. I mean,
If we're only doing one, I'm taking all the credit for this.
yeah, it's
'Cause I
fine.
thought it
Just,
is 3
my
weeks
suggestion
ago.
though just seems to be reasonable that it's something
Now
like
let
a 2-inch
Jeremy take all credit for this because it's
Yeah,
such a
we'll
damn
give Jeremy
dumb
the credit,
idea.
but I want the credit for the material if we use concrete.
Yeah.
I want to help do it. I want to help do
doing
it.
two.
But
So I want to know, guys. Hey,
2 inches
please tell me.
square. I'm suggesting
2 inches square.
Well, that's what I was
You
thinking.
mean in cross section?
I'm thinking
Yes.
2.5 inches wide and 5 inches tall.
Okay, bigger if you want to, but I'm just trying to keep it down to small stumps.
2 inches wide, 5 inches thick. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. 2.5 inches.
That's the
wide.
cross section, 2 inches by 5 inches.
Yeah, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
smaller, the lighter, the better.
Yeah, I don't know why you need to
we
be
just-
5 inches. I mean, you're starting to make it get quite heavy then.
We
Well,
do
it's
need to
quite
find a
visible.
gentle way to roll it down.
The heaviness,
Find a gentle way to lay it on its side. But
the amount this
even if we lay
weighs
it on
is
its side,
irrelevant.
okay.
The thing could weigh 100 tons. It doesn't matter. We're never going to move it. We're just going to remove sand from the side of it so it falls where we
Right.
want it.
But if it's a, but yeah, but
This thing could
hold-
weigh
hold-
8 million
hold on,
tons.
Hold on, Jeremy. If it's 100,
What the hell are we doing?
You've got 100-ton arch there that's going to fall apart under its own weight. You
Why is it
can't.
gonna-
What you're suggesting is it would form a very incredibly shallow arch, which you can't have because they can't build arches that are very shallow. And then you're going to say once it's all been freed up, you're then going to push it over. And then this arch is incredibly shallow. Will then go on its side and
It's not
rebar.
going to be a much stress on it, man. As long as we do it at the same time all the way down it. You know, it's not
Rumpus,
gonna
I
be
want
that
you to
much stress.
Rumpus, I want you to brainstorm on this and come up with, help. Let's help improve this and end this whole debate once and for all.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's. I mean, yeah.
No, because it will never happen. You came up with many things over the past 6 months, Jeremy, and none of them have occurred. So what's your point?
I've got a
but that's
I've got
because we
another
shot him
idea for the ballers to brainstorm on.
But
if you're
I think
interested,
that might be
let me
though.
know.
That's because we shot him down each time. But this one is more sensible. Oh, well,
yeah. What do you got, Baz?
Geometrically, hold on. Geometrically, it's more sensible. Now, I don't know much about concrete and obviously
Practically, it's a horseshit idea.
Yes, practically,
Oh,
you may
God.
get into some problems, but nonetheless, theoretically, it works. Unlike many of all the previous other ideas that don't allow for refraction and things. This one actually would, if you could just get it to hang together and you could push it over and it held its shape, then theoretically that would work. So that's a much better
Yeah,
starting
isn't
point
that
than
the
previous ideas.
problem? In theory, it might work, just like the fishing line, just like drawing a line on a wall. It all goes into the ash can.
Well, no, but George, that doesn't work.
Okay,
Those
can I
fishing
ask
lines,
my question now?
they have sag and all sorts of things, which we know. Whereas,
Well, yes, and you have the same problem here.
oh,
You
okay,
have
well, I
all
don't know
kinds
that
of
you've thought.
problems.
Yeah, okay, but I don't know how.
Okay, what's the?
George's
Hold on.
George's brain won't even let him think it's possible.
George,
That's how his
what's the
brain
problem
works.
so we
Everything
can
that
fix
moves
it?
about His brain don't even think it's possible.
George is
How the hell are you
What's the
going to tip
problem
it
so
up
we
on
can
its
fix it?
side?
Guys,
The hell are you going to tip it up on its side?
We're
Without
going to
it
remove the
flexing?
sand from the side. Hold on. We're going to remove the sand from the side of it very gently so that it very gently fall. I don't want to use the word falls,
And
but
think about the logistics of doing that over a mile. My
Right,
God,
but
or you could
Jeremy,
one guy with a stick could do it.
Jeremy, if it's a shallow arch without any support at the ends, it will break in the middle. So you can't let it be unsupported and just sitting there like a very shallow arch. You have
It's
to.
not. It's always going to be supported. Listen to me. It's always
Yeah,
going
okay,
to
I mean-
be supported by the sand.
Okay,
Okay,
then you
we're
need,
just
okay, in which case
removing
then you need to
sand
make
from
Not
the
if
side
it's
of it.
only 2 inches. Not if it's only 2 inches wide, you dummy.
what you would need to do is to have a shallow. You turn this sand on its side. So imagine we've got an 8-inch up, but basically we've got an arch with 8 inches at the middle, higher up than the ends. So what you need
2.5 inches too. I take that back. I was thinking about money when I said that.
What the hell is this going to prove anyway?
Yeah, we need to go about 8 inches thick, man.
what do you mean? What is this going to prove? Have you not been paying attention, paying us a show?
8 inches wide, 8 inches tall.
No, I just walked in and he's talking about tipping an arch on the side, and I'm sorry.
Well, the idea is, Shill, that they're going to dig a trench of a mile long, pour some very liquidy concrete in it, which hopefully will then form a level, just like water does, and then hopefully it will then set into a nice rigid thing. Say this trench is, I don't know, 5 inches by 5 inches, so it'd be quite a bit, or something, 5 inches by 2 inches.
Oh,
So
then
you
they'll see if it's curved or not.
So
Can I
just finish quickly, George. Quickly. So the top of it would then form a level and be curved, and then if you did 2 of those and then manage to get them on their side, you could then rub them up against one, and then you say, "Oh, look, in the middle they touch, but at the ends they don't. Therefore, it's curved." Finished.
Rumpus, obviously you know nothing about concrete. Let me point out something to you. You do not use liquidy concrete. Any more water in a concrete mix that's required, shut up, Brian, that's required to hydrate it, weakens it considerably. You want to have at least a 6-inch slump concrete to have any strength to it.
Hey, what concrete?
That's what I was telling them, but they want to add water to make it flatter. And what I'm trying to tell them is that, yeah, we can make it flat without the fucking water. That's why I want
George, you said 6 inch or something. I didn't understand. You said 6-inch concrete. 6 what?
Slump. S-L-U-M-P.
Right, that's a technical term.
Measure of how much water you have in the concrete and how ultimately strong it will be.
Right, so the question is,
we'll get all the details. Listen,
sorry, Jeremy, it's lagging here. Sorry, so George, can you get concrete that's liquid enough so that it will form a level, so it's not too viscous and strong enough to hang in there when it's set, and then you can do?
No, you're going to have to vibrate it. You're going to have to jiggle it in order to get it to be level. You need concrete that isn't liquidy.
Yeah, I must admit,
too much water significantly deteriorates
I thought
the
it did,
strength
but
of your
Brian was
concrete.
just showing us that it was strong enough. I was a bit skeptical about super.
How about this?
It would make it weaker.
How about this?
But we
How
can
about
do
this?
it without wetting it.
How about this? We make the concrete real thick, right? And we eyeball it out to be level, and then when we pour the water on afterwards, and we say, "Oh, it's a little bit high here," and we grind some off.
God, no, that's not going to work.
We're not going to be out by that much, dude. If we put it a 6-inch slump like George is saying, we can get that shit flat. We can get it within an inch on a mile, I think. We can get it within an inch on a mile. So what are you doing,
But Lael, in theory,
I have to admit that out of the stupid ideas I've heard in this page, this one is probably not as stupid as some. But
yeah, geometrically, Lael, it's correct. It would work geometrically. The question is whether you can practically build something of a 6-inch arch that you can then have upright and then turn it on its side, and it's all hanging together. That's the only issue. Well, that's a big issue. So it's
and the question comes down to this,
theoretically, it would work. Theoretically, it would give you an answer. Geometrically, it would give you an answer. It's just a matter whether you've got something strong enough to hang in there while you're turning it 90 degrees. But
so what we need is a method to turn it without putting too much pressure in one particular spot. We just spread the load. We find a way to flip it without giving it too much pressure to fall apart. So we spread the load.
You could do that with a nice slope on one side, a nice hemispherical, nice 6-inch. All you would need is a 6-inch curve, radius on some sand to the side of it, and then you could sort of push it over. But God, the force, I'd imagine, you need to hold on. There's a practical problem, isn't there? If you trying to push something of this, a
few people, it's strong, man. The concrete material itself, when it's reinforced,
not if it's liquidy.
You have to do the Chinese method too. Right. You get
Bro,
about
you use the ancient Egypt method of moving obelisks. Moving this thing on its side is not the problem.
You need like 1,000 people, I guess.
Hold on.
You need one guy with a shovel. You don't need anything crazy. Do you know how they used to move obelisks in ancient Egypt?
I'm vaguely aware of it. Yes, I've watched lots of programs about it. They had lots of problems, and they used A-frames to lift them up was their big problem. And they used rolls.
Yeah, but you can remove the sand. Okay, let's pretend we have this mile-long piece, and we want to flip it on its side. You remove the sand from specific parts of it, all along the length of it equally, so that it just goes on its side.
Is concrete strong enough to do this without? Because there is this little thing you guys.
But obelisks were only 100 feet long or something.
They're going to 2 inches, man.
We're gonna make a mold. We're gonna dig a trench in the sand, and then we're gonna get some wood, and we're gonna make a little mold on the side so we get the sides nice and straight. And we're gonna pour the concrete in. What's up, man? You guys are acting like this is.
Concrete is plastic.
What you do not want to do is to have this thing unsupported. In other words, a whole half a mile, and it just being like a sort of half a mile arch, which is only 4 inches high in the middle, it will break under that situation.
So picture this, y'all. The reason I was saying the 2 inches wide is because of the fact it's right in front of it. The way I describe gravity, it's not going to be like to come crashing down. If it's only like a foot high, let's only a foot high, we tip it over.
Okay, Brian, imagine you had to deal with your concrete thing. You had 100 meters long. Let's put it on a scale. We can sort of imagine the task you would have in shifting 100 meters, even if you dug around it, of pushing that so that it, rotated by 90 degrees. It's a big job, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy, man.
Yeah.
But
so
that's why we make it taller than wider.
A mile long. And you've all got to move everything simultaneously.
Rumpus.
That's me.
Bar of concrete, 2 inches by 5 inches, for a half a mile. We're going to require about 7 yards of concrete. And the total weight is going to be about 35,000 pounds.
Right. I thought it might be quite heavy.
Wait. What's your dimensions again, George? Is that 8 inches wide?
2 inches by 5 inches.
Yeah, 2 inches by 5 inches. So we use gravity to tip it over, and the sand maybe to cushion it. But yeah, it's gonna be heavy. We need manpower, but we just got to keep the stress off any one point. We just got to
push it simultaneously. Brian, you've got to push it simultaneously all along its length, simultaneously.
Right.
Which is not. So imagine if you. I say, would do it. Imagine it's just 100 meters, and you had to push a 100-meter thing on its side.
Greg, you're not pushing anything. You're just removing the sand from the one side.
No, but you can't. Well, no, you can't do. Well, yeah, but then it's got
It's not going to work for something only 5 inches wide because sand will move, and you will never get it.
Quit saying it's got to be 5.
Think about it, Brian.
Don't naysay. Think about a sand that wouldn't work.
Brian, you have something laying on sand that's only 5 inches wide, and you start undermining it on one edge. The sand, by the time you take off where it has a slope of 45 degrees, the rest of the sand will start flowing into your hole.
George, once again, quit naysaying. It doesn't have to be 5 inches, bro. It doesn't have to be 2 inches. Just give us a better size. We're just
the thing is, you want it to be wide in order to get it to tip. The narrower it is, the harder it's going to be to tip it by undermining sand.
The bigger you are, the bigger you make it. Imagine you've got 100-meter length run of concrete.
I work with this shit every day, bro. I know
that's why I'm asking you, and I'm trying to put it on a scale that you might be familiar with. And if you had to move this and shift it very simultaneously, 100 meters by that amount, to get it to turn by 90 degrees, that's quite a big job, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, but that's why we need it to tip. We need it to tip. Here's the thing: I've also broke out footers, and with steel-in footers, they're a nightmare to break out. Y'all think it's just going to break and crumble? No, it's not, unless you put all that pressure in one or two spots. We got to just spread the pressure, man. We got to just spread the pressure, or we could use something lighter. Okay, I mean, we don't have to use concrete, and it doesn't have to be a particular size. Okay, so I don't want to hear nobody else say if it's this size. Okay, screw it. Then let's talk about a different size, Don't naysay. Let's think of ways we can do this. Let's put our heads together.
I did mention about things like shoving in some rebars or something periodically along it, and that sort of thing to strengthen it that might help. Or you could not use concrete, as you say, and you could see, I don't know, some great gunky, gluey stuff that just has some metal bars in it.
What about what was it, that shit that I was talking about? The
epoxy.
Yeah, the equivalent of that. Yeah, something you just want something to go solid. And if you have metal bars periodically along it every few feet or something, that might hold it all together. But it's still going to be the trouble is this is still going to be incredible. No, it might not work because you need something that's quite rigid. If you're going to push this thing over, so imagine it's sitting on this. So imagine you've got facing you. You've got it in this 4 inches high in the middle, and it's a mile long, and you've got to simultaneously. And you've got a lovely slopey thing on the other side. You've got to push it all evenly over this, and it's going to weigh. Whatever it's going to weigh, even if it's just glue that's a mile long, it's going to be very heavy and it's going to break if it gets a chance.
Well, while you're thinking about that, let me read something real quick, guys.
The pressure is not going to be in the direction to affect the test negatively. The direction of pressure is going to be still up and down. So when we go to tilt this thing, even if it cracks and stretches a little bit, it's still going to be bent, okay, the way we need it to.
But you might bend...
Or flat.
Let me read something real quick. Hold on, George. Let me read something real quick. I've been putting it off for a while. Sorry. Taking Back Eden FE donated $3. The Rumpus, George, how many satellites do you truly believe are in orbit to your knowledge? Thank you.
There's about 6,000.
Yeah, that sort of number.
6,000.
And in their mind, they're thinking of a curved wall. In their mind, they're thinking of a curved
no,
wall.
with this recent stuff, sorry, Brian, to interrupt you. Yeah, but with these little mini satellite things, I mean, the one that recently Musk has done, he put up 2,000 in one go, nearly over a period of a few months, didn't he? So in fact, the numbers jumped up hugely in the last couple of years because of SpaceX and stuff. And
I
these
thought he
little
put up
mini
40,000, Rumpus. I thought it was like 40,000 of those puppies that he released.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was a
No.
huge number. Yes, it was. Yeah. So yeah,
No, there's not that many in orbit yet.
Well, I think the SpaceX ones have been
For
increasing
reinforcing concrete, there's actually a nice replacement for steel rebar now. It's made out of fiberglass. It's much lighter and even stronger than steel.
George, is this doable? Is this doable?
What's what?
This whole thing's going to be flexible.
Is this doable, George? I
don't think it's going to be rigid enough to do what they want to do.
No, shut up, George. Is this doable to make this mold and then turn it on its side?
No, I don't.
It's not doable.
I told you his brain won't let him.
From an engineering standpoint, there's too many
All we
problems.
gotta do is make something that'll tip over, okay?
I'll do it. Go ahead and do it, please.
Yeah, okay, Brian. I mean,
Just like I told you guys about the fishing line and drawing a line on the wall, break. Knock yourself out.
We
Don't
can't
do
find
it.
a wall straight enough.
land.
George, we can't find a flat enough, long enough wall, 1. 2, we have to deal with sag.
Exactly. It won't work. Yeah, we know.
We can use the power lines of the bridge, man.
Now you're going to have to deal with
the bridge
flexing.
for a straight
So they
wall.
all have their fundamental problems.
No, Brandon, he's not seriously. He's suggesting to do it because it's not going to work. He's not suggesting it would work. These fishing line things.
I missed that. Sorry.
So the thing with this, at least this idea that Jeremy etc. has had, at least in principle geometrically it would work. The only whereas the sag and the fishing line, we can immediately see the equations don't work with sag and there's all sorts of geometric problems. Whereas now we've just got practical problems. But as George is the practical one here. There might be an engineer who does this sort of thing might say, "Don't be ridiculous. This is just as stupid as any other idea." The fishing line idea.
Okay,
But at least,
well, how about this, George? How about this? If we lay out the wall, okay, if we lay out the wall in a mile long and we use water to determine that it's flat, we do 2 of them right next to each other. We make them bar long, okay? And hold on, let me finish. And then we put the water on top of it, 2 inches to make sure it's level the whole way, okay? And then we cut it every 10 foot and rotate it and just match it back up. And,
No. The matching is a real issue.
If you having it set, instead of trying to build sand around it, you could then make a bigger trench around it and fill it with water.
That's what I'm thinking. Put water in it and then undermine it.
Yeah, you want to undermine it. So in other words, you want to just reduce its weight. So when you try and if you can get to the point where let's suppose there's only twice as dense as water. If you could almost, if you could get above it and lift it up or something, and then
put it in water.
In other words, if it was in a pool of water, think if it's in a swimming pool. Imagine you have this 1 mile thing in a swimming pool that's 1 mile long.
Yeah,
or
but
trench, and you
water
can try and turn it.
Water only reduces the weight about 30%. Apparently.
What if we use liquid mercury?
Yeah, I mean, if you could do it in mercury, I was thinking earlier that would
Oh,
do it.
yeah.
Jesus Christ, guys, we're not trying to kill.
Jesus.
We're not trying to kill all the wildlife.
Hold on. Look, there's several ways we could do it. George is saying no because he's thinking of engineering where it's got to support ridiculous weights and all this shit. All we have to do is make something that supports itself. Okay, and it won't be as hard as he's making it out to be.
No, it won't, Brian, it won't do that. You can't have something, an arch that shallow support itself. It will break instantly.
Well, if we just make it out of steel, we'll just have molten steel
man.
and poured
It's not
steel.
arching. Quit saying it's arching. It's going to be level.
It is an arch. It would be an arch.
4 inches by 4 inches, a half mile long. It's going to be like a
It's not a fucking arch, Rumpus. It's level.
Yes, it's worse. Yes, but if it's supporting itself, it's effectively an arch. If it's only the ends are touching, if you've dug it all out such that that there's nothing that's supporting it from one end to the other, and it's supporting itself, it will break.
I guarantee you this: if we make a reinforced long wall, mile long, and we spread the pressure when we tip it over, it will be.
But Brian, unless you've got it supported all along its length, you've got an arch there. But and if you've got sand underneath
supporting it, Rumpus.
Sorry.
It's not that heavy in one particular spot, Rumpus. It's not heavy in one particular spot. It's not that heavy.
No, but I mean, imagine this is a mile-long thing, and you're trying to push it a lot, whether it's over some ground or something. If you're going to support it with some sand, so it doesn't actually have to support its own weight, and you just simply want to rotate it by 90 degrees, then you've got to push it over some sand. This is 35,000 pounds. You need to pull something that's 35,000 pounds simultaneously in every spot evenly along a distance of a mile. I would say that was a really quite large engineering task. Now, if you could get it in some water, so you just sort of was semi-floating somehow, I don't know quite how you could do that. Then must easily turn it, well, semi-easily. You could then rotate it around in the water, then remove the water, and then you're sorted. I'm not saying it's easy, but I mean, it means it's not having to support its own weight at any stage. And if you get it in the water, and the water does most of the supporting, and if you make it out of concrete with fluffy bits in it, like Mythbusters did with their foamy, they put some concrete with, I think they just put some bits of polystyrene in there or something. So they had lightweight, or something like pumice stone. Yes, for instance, if you could make this out of pumice stone, which is the stuff becomes out volcanoes. If it was a pumice thing, then that floats on water.
Maybe we could we could build it next to a volcano and divert some of the flow into the things.
Go to Hawaii, yeah. Go to Hawaii where they got some divert one of those flows in Hawaii into a trench and then let it cool. Then because it's so hot, it will hopefully flow. And then, but unfortunately, I think the stuff coming there is actually density of rock. Whereas we're looking for pumice is the the stuff that's flying, some of the flying in the air. But if you could make concrete that was the same density of water, then you could flood this thing, and then you wouldn't have no problem. The water would be doing all the supporting, and then you could rotate it and flip it around and do whatever you like with it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hey, I got cut off, Brandon. But did you hear the part where I was talking about us laying in that wall? Like if 10 people laid down in the wall and we poured 4 inches of concrete a mile long, that everybody'd be fine as long as we could breathe. They keep picturing all the way to the wall in one spot. Evenly, semis and the bridges and all the things he's erecting. All we're building is something to support its own damn weight, spread out over a mile. Nothing tucking to it.
It won't support its own weight, Brian.
Well, it will if it's flat. But
if it's flat, if it's on its side and not flat, then it will. Yes.
Well, what he's imagining is that the Earth is a ball. See, Brian. And that there's going to be a big hump in the middle of it, and once we remove the dirt from underneath the thing to roll it over, it's going to break.
Yeah.
Okay, Rumpus. Rumpus. Do you realize that if we did a wall and let's just say somebody laid down inside of it and we just poured it like 5 inches high, okay? You realize that 10 people could lay down anywhere in random spots on that wall. As long as we could breathe, we'd be fine.
I didn't understand any of that.
Sorry, Brian. It'd be heavy. It wouldn't squish.
Brian, you're going to have to go back to the start of that explanation. I didn't understand a single word of it, I'm afraid.
Okay. Look, you're picturing
You have to do
it wrong.
slowly for me.
Think about this. If we did a wall a mile long, okay, and 5 inches tall, let's just say 5 inches tall, just for
so then down where? Sorry, on the top of the wall, by the side of the wall?
Under the wall.
Under the wall.
We could pour the 4 inches of concrete right over top of me and 10 other guys, and we'd be just fine. It wouldn't squish us.
Oh, you mean the weight? Oh, yes. If you right, so the weight of the wall, you wouldn't feel the pressure any. Yeah, if it's only a couple of inches high, yes, it's no. Yes, you just as. I mean, I could lay a 2x5 lump of concrete on top of you, and you a bar and then lay it straight, and you were lying down. It'd probably be a bit heavy for you, actually. I think you might not.
So now what they do, they build bridges and they use reinforced concrete. I know it's a bunch of steel and it's thicker, but it supports enormous amounts of weight. All we're doing that's why they use concrete, steel reinforced concrete, because it's strong as fuck, dude. It doesn't have tensile strength though, so it won't want to crack because it doesn't stretch. It won't want to crack. Concrete does not stretch.
Yeah, Brian, as Shill said, that's under compression. It can do that. You can support weight pushing on it, but the point is that it's under tension at the bottom of the arch, and it will crack and break. You do know about compression and tension, don't you, in things, in concrete? Concrete and cement is absolutely terrible under tension. That's why you can't build shallow arches.
Yeah, it doesn't have tensile strength. It doesn't stretch. It
exactly.
cracks.
So right, exactly.
That's why you put rebar in it, bro. You put the rebar in it because steel has incredible tensile strength.
Or whatever,
what George
Brian.
is saying is even stronger. It'd be no problem at all to build a wall to
There's a
support its own
reason
weight.
we
It's
can't
literally
build
not
arches
hanging
that
in midair.
Brian, there's a reason we have to build arches arch shape.
It's not
We
an
can't
arch.
make them. It is an arch if it's curved, and the top of the bit of it's above the ends, and you've got effectively sitting on its ends, and there's a very incredibly shallow curve to the midpoint, and it would.
So you don't think there's mile-long wells? You don't think there's mile-long wells on this earth? They're everywhere, dude. I've done one almost a mile long.
Yeah, but
okay,
they're flat. Yeah, but they only. Yes, but they don't have. They don't just have supports at either end. A mile. You can't have one support at 1 mile away and the other support the other mile away, and the middle bit having no support. It would just fall in. You're talking about bridges.
Yeah, you tip it over. Look,
Yeah,
what we
but
do is we build, we
part,
do the two wells a few foot apart.
Or whatever.
We don't need that.
And then, well,
about a foot high, and we tip it over. It's not going to come crashing down. You could lay under it. It wouldn't kill you, dude. The pressure is spread out, bro. That pressure I'm speaking of is spread out, dude.
We're going to have to draw your
diagram. So if you tip it over, it's not going to go crashing down, dude.
Right.
It's just going to tip over.
Right, you need a diagram, don't you? That's what's going to happen. You knew it had to happen.
Jeremy's right on that, dude. But I don't. I mean, he's exaggerating saying one guy can tip it over. We need a line of guys, but it wouldn't be nothing. It wouldn't be crazy. We just need a guy about every 50 foot or so.
Well, listen to this, okay? There's theoretically a 50-50 chance that it is going to even be an arch. It might not even be an arch rumpus, right? It might just be.
Yeah, but you have to allow for that. Yes, I mean, it'd be pointless
we don't
to do something
necessarily. It just takes one of the possible results of the experiment out of the equation. So if it's not an arch and we are able to tip it over without it breaking and butt these together, then it falsifies the ball earth, right?
Well, there's the other problem. Even if, let's imagine it was perfectly straight. Let's imagine you were faced. Well, hold on.
Go ahead, Robert.
Imagine it was a perfectly straight piece of thingy. Imagine trying to rotate something that's a mile long that weighs tens of thousands of pounds, and the only way to do it is to pull it evenly along there. That's a major task. Just that part of the problem.
It's not that major. You're not lifting up 30,000 pounds. You're tipping it over, dude.
Yeah.
It's bending, even if it is arcing. The way gravity works, and
at that point, it's like an arch before you've tipped it over. Once you've tipped it over, everything's fine. We all agree it's all wonderful and easy and sorted if you've tipped it over to the so it's lying down the side. That's easy. We agree on that. That's not a problem. It's the point before you do that where it's behaving like an arch. Before you've removed all the sand support on it, and then you tip, and at that point it will break.
Listen to this. If I'm doing a wall and it's only like a few inches wide, we don't even need stakes to hold it in. You pour it on the ground, the weight of the 2x4 will hold it in. There's no pressure in one particular spot, man. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. We need one stake for every board. It's not going to blow out. Now, when you start adding weight to it, the boards blow out like crazy.
Brian, if you've only got support at each end, then you have. If you get to the point where it's an arch, where you've removed all the sand in the middle, where you prior to you tipping it over,
at no point are we doing that. At no point are we going to. Is it going to be dangling in the air?
How are you going to push it over if you haven't removed?
The weight's going to shift. We're going to tip it over.
Yes, but prior to I haven't quite. There are several ways you could do this. You could either remove all the sand that's underneath it, and then just leave it so you've got the ends are the only things that are in contact with the sand. And then in that case, it will break, even if it was a flat thing. In fact. Whether it's an arch or
what we're going to do is in my plan, I'm not speaking for everybody, but in my head, we're going to do it a little bit taller than it is wide and just tip it over. We're going to have guys lined up along the wall.
Right, okay. So there'll be sand. Okay, so there'll be sand.
It's never going to be supporting its own weight. It will not support its own weight in the air.
Sand underneath it all the way. Okay, which is the thing I was talking about earlier. So so you have sand underneath it all the way, so there's not supporting its own weight. So fine, but then you've got to tip this thing.
Tip it over.
Right now,
it's not going to go crashing down. It's just going.
Well, no, but Brian, you've got. I mean, again, going back to the sort of real world thing you might be familiar with. If you have 100 meter, if you had a 100 meter obelisk, effectively, and you wanted to turn it over by 90 degrees,
we put a board underneath it too.
That'd be a major task, wouldn't it?
No, just like a 2x6 or a 1x4, just so it has.
So you're telling me. If I gave you 100. So if I gave you a 5-inch cross-section piece of concrete that was 100 meters long, and I said, Brian, turn this over by 90 degrees, you'd think that's a minor job.
Yeah, think of rolling over a parking bumper. I can carry a parking bumper by myself. That's about the extent. It's easier with two people, but I can lift it up by myself.
But hold on, Brian, this is 100 meters long. So I'm telling. Let's remember, this is a solid piece of concrete, 100 meters long. It's got a square section of 5 inches, say. And I said to you, right now, turn that over by 90 degrees. You would require some major industrial equipment to do that.
No, to lift it in the air we would, but to tip it over.
Well, no, even to turn it over. Well, how you would to make it not break, you would have to be pulling it at every I don't know 5 or 10 meters or something. You'd have
That's
to.
why I was asking George. That's why I asked George and you to try and help me think of an idea to spread the.
Yes. I mean, the way I was thinking, possibly you might stick a drill something in there with a hook or something, and then you'd tie some wire to it, and then you'd pull on those simultaneously. But Jesus, you'd need, every 10 meters to stop being extra stresses at any particular point. You'd need to have, I don't know,
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do for y'all.
You'd need 100 machines or more, and 200 machines.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do for y'all. I'm gonna build a little mini scale. I'm gonna scale this down, and I'm gonna do this and make a video, okay? Because I'm pouring tomorrow and I'm pouring Friday. I'm not gonna be able to do it tomorrow because it's across town, but I'm doing a job right by my house tomorrow. I'll order an extra yard of concrete. I'll do one.
We'll do one 10 meters long. Brian, do one 10 meters long. That would demonstrate to you the possible problems of doing this. So you want a 10 meter long.
How many do you think I did already? How many do you think I did already? How many
I don't know, Brian. Okay, well, Brian,
dude.
Okay, fantastic, Brian. So something.
Every shape, you name it, bro. I've done a peanut wall to fucking to bulkheads. You name it, I've done it, dude. I've been doing this shit my whole entire life.
Get us a concrete length, preferably. I don't know, 50 meters would be amazing if you could manage that, but 10, 20 meters would be getting on the
I could do at least 20. I could do at least 20 meters, man.
Great, because I suspect that's going to require more than one, because we need more than one thing to be doing the pulling, really, to make the.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate that we can do one 20 meters long, and we can tip it right over, and it won't break.
Okay, well that would be a start.
It won't break in 20 meters. It won't break in 100 meters.
Yeah, that would be a good proof of concept on a short.
I'm going to show you what it's going to take to break it. I'm going to show you how much sledgehammer it's going to take to break this. There's a big, you're right. It will have to be fought at the same time. But you won't believe how strong concrete with steel in it is. It's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, if you put steel in, I agree. Now that makes a big difference. Imagine it's sticking some steel in there. But that makes it, you
can't break it, dude. It's fucking invincible, dude. It's crazy.
Okay. Well, certainly sticking bits, and that was discussed putting the rebar in. That's definitely a very good idea if you stuck some rebar in it. That would certainly whip up the strength enormously by a factor of 2, I suspect. And then that makes it be. I bet even then, if you pull just the half a mile, one half of it mile, and not the other half a mile, I'm pretty sure it's going to snap in the middle.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, you spread the weight evenly. You spread the weight evenly, you'll be all right.
Yeah, that's the problem, though.
I look for final thoughts. Top of the list tonight, Rumpus, you're up at the top. Go ahead.
Okay, well done, Jeremy, for pursuing this. New Brandon for pursuing it as well, because that is, I must admit, I hadn't thought of that one. So that's good stuff, and that's proper practical. Proper geometrically thinking correctly. So that has to, even if it's totally impractical, at least it's got to that first rung of being geometrically sensible. So great stuff.
Thanks, Rumpus. Oh, wait a minute. I mean,
still don't understand triangles, I'm afraid, Brandon. But anyway.
Okay. All right. I fucked it up anyway. Brian Leakey.
Yeah. Shout out to Jeremy, Brandon, and everybody else. Yeah, let's put our heads together, man. I happen to work with concrete, so I can make something. And I'm probably gonna have to go about 4 inches wide with a couple pieces of rebar they're 20 foot long and they're real thin. What George said is right as far as the slump. Yeah, the wetter you make it, the weaker it does get. We're not even allowed when we're doing Florida highway jobs. When we're working at the military base. They check it, and we can't do nothing over a 4 slump. It's dry as shit, and it's way stronger.
Sorry to really apologise for interrupting you, Brian. Yes, I was fully aware there was some system for measuring this, and if you could make this stuff thin concrete, as thin as you could make it, that would also be very useful to do. If you could make it as thin as possible. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lightweight material to it, and to try and lighten it a little bit. I'll try a couple different things, but on a small scale. But then I could probably go about 60, 80 foot long. And he's right about that. It's heavy as shit, but we don't need to lift it in the air. But we just need to tip it over. We need to spread the load when we do it. I think we can put our minds together and come up with it. But once again, appreciate Jeremy for keeping us on task. I appreciate Rumpus for joining in with some ideas. I would expect George to naysay it because I think he's a little bit subconsciously intimidated by it, or he's just used to doing bigger projects that have to support tons of weight. To me, this is the last thing, is I think if we tip this thing over, and it's just the way we construct it, where it's taller and thinner, it'll tip over, and it won't take that much force to tip it over if we spread that out, and it won't be that high where it goes crashing down to smash it into smithereens. Not the way concrete works, but let's talk more about it later. Thanks.
Thanks, Brian. Chad.
What's going on?
What's up, man?
I don't know yet, but when it happens, I'll be ready. A good show, and I just wanted to comment on a comment that I heard. The way you keep a secret is you tell everybody the secret. Good show, thanks.
That's funny. Thanks, Chad. Effie. Jeremy.
Yes, I'm glad we're finally, brainstorming together on this. This seems doable. I mean, George doesn't think so, but I think this is doable if if it's done right. We need a materials expert or somebody that knows, concrete seems the most likeliest of materials to use. And even if you have to make it thick, you can always just pour water on top of it and then grind it down on either end in the middle to make it the same height as the water. Like, it doesn't matter what happens in between those spots, as long as either end and the middle are the same height as the water. That's all we're going to be measuring anyway. So, that's not doable. As far as tipping it, I have some play sand at home, and I'll get one of my little kids' blocks and show you how you can just dig away the sand and have it, gently fall as you remove the sand. And good show.
Thank you, sir. George.
Knock yourselves out. Go for
it. Can we do it on your land, George?
I don't have that long a land, but we could do it out on the ice.
Yeah, you've got lots of space there.
Ice. Wait a minute. Ice.
Could we do this on ice and then I don't know.
And then let the ice
No,
melt?
you'll never get the concrete to set properly unless
George,
you add a lot of
reinforce
force
ice?
into it.
All right.
George, can we reinforce ice with like plastic fiber rods or steel rods?
Yeah, the new fiberglass rods are really quite awesome.
Concrete rails there. The only thing I could think to add, if you're going to form a ditch to pour this concrete in, and if you took into consideration to form the bottom of the ditch such that when you remove the sand, they would just fall over. But you still got to consider stressing and it breaking off as the sand. But that's all I got. Have a good one.
Cool. Thanks,
that's fucking good right there. You make this. All right, my bad.
Oh, no, go ahead, Jeremy.
You make the bottom so that it's angled so that when you start removing sand from the one side, it'll just tip over. It won't have any
that's what I
choice.
said, like a diamond. That's what I said to begin with. It was like make it like a diamond.
More like a triangle.
That was Howard's idea, Brian. That was Howard's. I heard it.
Fuck, now we got to give him credit too.
Yeah, let's get him in there too, man.
I'm just kidding.
I'm glad we got everyone brainstorming on this. Thanks, guys. Let's end this fucking debate.
Well, I wouldn't go crazy now, but it would go a long way. SE.
Yes, sir. Good show. I've been listening in the background, doing stuff. That's a pretty tall order you guys got planned there. Very ambitious project. I wish you guys the best of luck.
Oh, you're in. You're in on this.
I'm in,
You're
bro.
coming.
Whatever you need.
You're coming with us.
I'll be
We'll
there.
get the jet skis after.
Yeah.
Thanks, SE. Bob Dole.
Nothing that I can think of to add right now.
Okay.
I've got just like one thing. I used to see many years ago as a child. I used to see these programs about making very long steel wires, where they have these what seems like many hundreds of yards of steel pipes. And of course, when they build these suspension bridges, they use wire that is continuous, which presumably means it's made in one continuous thing that goes backwards and forwards. That's many miles long. Now, I don't know whether when they make them, they are naturally curved because they followed something in the floor or something. There's just some possibility that this has been done to some degree industrially for building suspension bridges.
Interesting.
Yeah, when we're building shit, we build it flat.
I do have a picture I could share when we're off the live show or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Let me
We use
do my
our
final thought.
instruments and we lay out horizontal lines. You know, just so he knows, we lay out horizontal lines. The earth curve's never factored into any of these engineering projects. Whoever tells you they are, it's full of dunkus.
Good point, Brian. Yeah, my final thoughts. Good show. Appreciate that. I'm gonna keep working on the glitching and the lagging in the stream. Frickin' software is something's wrong with it. Anyway, appreciate all the panelists. Thanks for coming on the show. Good discussion. It's nice to hear both sides trying to brainstorm on a way to conduct this experiment, and hopefully we can come to some kind of something we can take action on and feel good about it. So thanks everybody. I'll be back. I will record the after show. Just give me a couple minutes. Okay. Thank you everybody. Appreciate it out there in the audience. Thanks for sticking with me through these, whatever is going on. It is not my internet connection. Okay. It is something in the software that is just crashing, but I'm going to try a new software tonight. Hopefully that'll work. And hopefully tomorrow I don't have to continually watch the stream.